Hello, one and all, you internet misfits and atheistic heathens. Welcome to another debate dissection with myself, Mark Reed, and Ember. Ember's here. How you doing, Ems?
Hello. It's been a busy day. I'm zipping around doing
Yeah.
all the things.
Totally. We've come back for yet another debate dissection, and we were over at your channel last week. We did another, and today we're not doing a Kent Hovind debate. That's old news. That's tired and it's worn out.
We're
We're doing something
6 weeks in a row.
right. Too much Hovind. We're doing something even dumber, which is
good.
Flat Earth.
Yay!
So yeah, absolutely, yay! So as I said to Ember, like it's only marginally stupid than young Earth creationism, right? Just marginally stupider. So yeah, we come back with, and this was Ember's suggestion, so all credit goes to Ember for this one.
I didn't even watch it. I was just like, it's Rhetoric, who, for anybody who doesn't know, has been a flat Earth fighter for quite some time. I think Reds was the one.
I like Reds. I do.
Yeah, I think they did when Flatzoid got busted for removing 11 frames from a video. That was Reds who did that. So
that was Reds Rhetoric.
Yeah.
And that was where I got that information from, was Red's Rhetoric channel, when I debated Flatzoid and decided to absolutely roast him for being so disgustingly dishonest. And the if you're unfamiliar, there was this video of something like dropping. I'm not sure what it was. I think it was a re-entry capsule from what I recall, or something like that, or a,
if I remember correctly, it was one of the SpaceX reusable boosters coming back in for landing.
Right. Yes. And basically what happened was that it came down through the frame of the camera that someone was recording it on. It passed the horizon, or passed the waterline, and then hit the splash was later, so we could see it was beyond the horizon. It wasn't any kind of sort of curving of the light or anything like it. It was obstructed for 11 sort of 11 frames of this video. There was no splash, and it had already passed the horizon. So Flatzoid did a video on it. This is Flatzoid, who is a flat earther, did a video on it and showed that, it does it at exactly the same time, kind of thing. So it can't be the horizon. And then Red's Rhetoric showed that what he had done is removed 11 frames of that video in order to make it seem like the booster had hit at the same time, but frames of that video were missing. It was really weird to see Flatzoid's story change over time. At first it was, no, I didn't remove any. Then it was, well, I removed some frames, but it was only to correct this other thing. And then it was, I removed some frames, but it wasn't 11 frames, it was only 6 or something. Like the amount of changing of this story was actually, like, it boggles my mind that man has any audience left, quite frankly, because he will just lie outright.
And he's bigger than both of us put together.
Yeah, which is incredible.
Clearly, we should lie more or something.
Right. If you're willing to lie and pander to people's sort of conspiracy theories and their ridiculous ideas, and just lie and manipulate video, then you too can make it huge on YouTube, which is very, very disheartening, quite frankly, because sort of, and people like Red's Rhetoric are out here doing the right thing, and it's just ridiculous that man, like, he is one that some flat earthers, I think they believe it. I'm sure he doesn't, or he wouldn't be removing frames from a video. And sort of some of his evidence is so wonky and shoddy that, like, he puts lines across the pictures, kind of thing, to show, hey, this is how it works with sort of perspective. But you can see one shot is clearly more zoomed in than the other. Like, it's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? It's incredibly how bad that man is. But yeah, so that's I'm talking more about Flatzoid than I am Red's Rhetoric, to be honest with you. But Red's Rhetoric is a really cool guy. He's the guy that I went to rile up Flatzoid because the 11 frames were missing. We still haven't found them. They are apparently lost time.
They're in the CIA vault in Area 51 next to the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah, exactly. They're Indiana Jones got them and stashed them away somewhere.
They belong in a museum.
They do belong in a museum. Oh, I belong in a museum, to be quite frank with you. Recently, you've seen it. There is a members only video. If you want to see it, it's me having fun with a friend who is Jess. How to Rule an Asteroid is awesome. And it is sort of the project I was talking about. It will go live on Tuesday. If you are not a member, you can see it on Tuesday, but members get special privileges, which I probably haven't told anybody, but you should know by now. Special privileges for members. So be forewarned. The war is beginning. It's a just war. It's a righteous war. On the dreaded emu, so be ready for that. Okay, so just wait on for that. So I apologize for everybody, but it is up for members. If you haven't seen it or didn't get notified for some reason, it is up for the members. Is there anything else we have to go through? No, just who is he debating? Ban? Notice I don't. The name sounds familiar, but I don't recall who that is.
And it's not one I'm familiar with either. And so it'll be a surprise for both of us because neither of us have actually watched this debate. We just kind of went, hey, let's do this one. And I'm not familiar with Ban.
As I was skimming through, it didn't seem like it. It seemed like it was just a capture of Twitter or X, I guess it's called now. Like I don't know what it's supposed to be, kind of thing. It just seems like but I mean, we can go through it. I'm pretty sure there was some graphics from Reds. I'm not sure about this ban notice guy. Yeah, and Red's Rhetoric is very good, so I'll throw it up there. So should we get started? Look, I'm not sure though. I've somehow got to handball it back to you to start off on your channel again. I feel really bad that you keep getting the tail end of everything.
Well, we keep doing longer ones, and they wind up being 2 parts.
Yeah, well, this was 2 hours, but I'm not sure I can sit through 2 hours of flurf, to be honest with you.
I'm not sure how much of it is actually relevant anyway, because as you know, many debates, they have a whole bunch of extra bullshit like Q&As at the end or whatever. No. I don't know if that happens in this case, but I mean, if it's not interesting, any of our 2-parters, the reason we do a second part is because we find it interesting. If we don't, we just won't do a second part.
Well, it kind of, I was watching, I think it was a Daily Show thing, because I love Daily Show. I love what they do with it. But there was somebody interviewing someone at a Trump rally, and they were sort of in on every conspiracy under the sun, like,
of course,
controlling the weather. And they asked this person, like this woman, like, you think they're controlling the weather? And she's like, yeah, whoever's controlling the weather, kind of thing. And it just, like, how do you get to that point is beyond me. How do you get to the point where you think that a government agency is controlling the weather in order to win elections? I don't even know where to start with that. I mean, we can cloud seed, and that's about the limit of our ability over the weather. Yeah. I don't. It's incredible. But anyway, let's get started, because Flurf will wait for no man or woman or non-binary person.
Advanced primates, whatever you got.
Yep.
All right. Yep, my name is Red, and the question for tonight's debate, at least as far as I'm aware, is which model best comports with reality, flat Earth or round Earth? I'm going to be arguing for the standard round Earth model, the one that you all know and love. And secondly, I must tell you what I mean when I say that the round Earth model can be verified to comport with reality. I mean that it can be verified by you. Of the 2 models being proposed, the round Earth model is the clear winner here. You can see this for yourself. You don't have to go to NASA. You don't have to go to Neil deGrasse Tyson. You don't have to go to Bill Nye the Science Guy. If you are able to make some observations on your own, you can verify that the Earth is indeed round.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson has been really misconstrued when he said, "Oh, you can't see the curvature at 20,000 feet." He meant with the naked eye kind of thing. Like we can use instruments or just a piece of string to get a much better view of whether there is curvature or not. But I think that's been really misconstrued.
Oh, for sure.
I'm not. I think the flat earthers would say, "Oh, you can test to see flat Earth for yourself. Just go outside and look around." You know what I mean? Like I'm just thinking like of the response I would get to saying something like that, and it's like, yeah, but that, like, it's just I don't know why, and so part of me goes, I meet these perfectly intelligent people. These perfectly intelligent people, they seem to be educated. Nathan Luhman comes to mind. He's perfectly nice, perfectly educated, just has this belief he will not let up with, no matter what he's shown. And it seems to be based in religiosity. It seems to be a religious belief. That's all I can think of why you'd hold on to a belief like this and not let it go, sort of thing. It's dogma.
So basically, you can do this with basic equipment and a few friends. So that means all the evidence that I present here tonight will be from observations that I have done myself, or they will be from others who, like me, turned off their computer and made some observations of their own. I will also state that this debate is being live streamed on my YouTube channel live, so shout out to all the people that are watching live on my YouTube channel. I will also state that this debate will have some links corresponding with it, and those links will be in the description of my live stream. It will contain all the links to all the evidence that I present here tonight. So if you're like me and don't want to be limited by a Twitter space, you can click on the link that's pinned on my Twitter profile, and you can watch it there. With that, I look forward to the debate.
I didn't know debates were happening on Twitter. Were you aware of this?
No, but in fairness, I've never really got into Twitter. Like before the Twitter apocalypse, it just it wasn't really interesting. It just and then after, there was more and more reason to not go over there. Oh, we lost your mic again. Nope, still nothing. Pesky technology. Nope.
Oh, no.
There you go. And you're gone again. Y'all see what we mean? We weren't kidding about technical difficulties. It's true, Jedi. You do need a hazmat suit to go over there. I mean, I don't know why it took people until the election to mass migrate away, but they have started to do so. I think some website or other.
Hello?
Take it with a grain of salt. There you are.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna not touch this thing. I'm gonna
It does seem a little finicky.
I'm just gonna sit over here from now on, just as far away as possible from this thing.
Yep.
Sorry.
Just in case.
Yeah, sorry, go on with what you were saying. You were roasting Twitter, I believe.
Yeah, something like 1 million people switched over to Blue Sky over I think since Friday. I mean, that's a lot of people, but at the same time, like, why did they wait so long? I don't know.
Yeah, and Left Hand Jedi, you're right. You need a hazmat suit. Yeah, as soon as Elon took it over and basically started enabling certain people, and we all know who we're talking about, we it's just been a enabling of racism, bigotry, just all kinds of nasty stuff. And I was never a great fan of it to begin with, to be quite honest. So, yeah.
Yeah, I could see the utility in Jesus Christ. Technical difficulties.
That's me. Yeah, that's me. Don't repeat me. Anything I say once is enough, quite frankly. No one wants to hear it again.
Oh my goodness.
The flat Earth
yeah.
debate? Yes, it is. Yes, it's a flat Earth debate. We are breaking it down and seeing what falls out.
I bet it's cookies.
No, I bet you it's not. I bet you it's not.
Thank you for that, Rez. Thank you for that, Rez. Appreciate that. And shout out to all the listeners on YouTube on Red's channel. Appreciate you.
And the link for the debate on Red's Rhetoric is in the channel below. Go and give him some love as well, because he does an amazing job.
You guys tap it in if you're not here on Twitter Spaces. Hope you guys are enjoying that audio. And yeah, enjoy the show. So let's hear from Ben. Hold on 1 second, Ben. Let me go ahead and reset the timer.
So they have a timer.
All right, Ben. Notice you're up. 3 minutes starting now. Your intro.
Yay.
All right. I am Van Notice. Thank you all for coming here. I'm very excited to be here. Just a little bit about myself. I've been researching truth topics for over 20 years. I've been researching flat Earth for about 6 years. I participated in a lot of
researching.
Well, yeah, what do you think what he means by researching? Because I've heard that, and I've heard it very recently from someone saying that they've been researching sort of gender-affirming care for 10 years. And by researching, they seem to point to YouTube videos, articles, you know, like things that you wouldn't normally associate with scientific research. What do you think he means scientific research, Ember? Do you think he means he's been to like prestigious universities and done experimentation and studies into the shape of the Earth? Do you think that's what he means?
Oh, sure. I mean, if he's been at it for 6 years, he's in, you know, grad school of Flat Earth University, you know?
No, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was Professor Burn Notice here. I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I didn't realize. Yeah, no. So when people say that they've been researching in science, they have a very specific meaning. What they mean is that they've been reading up on scientifically produced literature and doing experimentation with principles brought up in that literature in order to find some kind of novel application or novel property of what it is that they're researching. So if they're researching, you know, viruses, they're basically working with viruses, experimenting with it and trying to find ways to combat them, for instance. So, but this is a word used by flat earthers to simply mean I've been looking stuff up on the internet. And
yeah,
other
basically.
people use it as well. Other people use it as well. They say, hey, I've been researching, you know, the show Friends for years now. Like it kind of gets used in a colloquial sense, in a scientific sense, but that's where flat earthers sort of conflate the two. They're not like, I've never said I'm doing research on, you know, astrophysics, right? You wouldn't say you do. You say, hey, I've been looking up stuff on astrophysics, getting really into it. I would not say research, because that has a very specific meaning.
Well, you search and then you do it again, and it's research.
Oh, I see.
It's a repeatable experiment, Mark. Come on.
And how did I not see that?
Flat Earth debates during old Twitter before Elon took over. I've probably been banned from Twitter for about 7 times. But since Elon has taken over, since last April, I haven't been banned at all. So I'd just like to take this moment to thank Elon for his commitment to free speech. I think he's doing a wonderful thing by rescuing Twitter.
Of all the people, I would expect a flat earther to say doing a good job is Elon Musk, who regularly sends rockets into space.
He sent a Tesla at Mars.
Tesla, right. What?
This is his flat Earth opening, and he's praising the spaceman. What are we doing here?
This is baffling. Okay. Right.
Just a little bit about myself. I do approach things from a philosophical perspective, but I'd like to say that philosophy is the mother of all sciences. I do also have an engineering and automotive background, and I did work manufacturing durable medical equipment.
Yeah, something about there's something about mechanical engineers that they fall for this stuff. Like T-Rock's a mechanical engineer, and he argues for young Earth. I'm not sure what it is, but you don't get sort of surveyors going into flat Earth, or, you know, necessarily pilots and stuff going in for flat Earth. It doesn't happen a lot. But mechanical engineers, for some reason, but who approaches it philosophically? And philosophy is, so I'm just trying to pass that sentence. Philosophy is the mother of all science. Philosophy is, it's sort of, philosophy covers thinking about anything, really, right? So anything at all. You might as well say that philosophy is the mother of biology, or philosophy is the mother of computers, or like philosophy was our start to thinking logically and systematically about things. It's not, doesn't mean that you should necessarily, you know, if you have to design a building, you go in philosophically about it. But it's a very strange statement. It's sort of, yeah, it's very weird.
I think he's referencing Aristotle, who is broadly credited with creating the system of specialties that's since expanded, but there's a reason we still use the term doctor of philosophy today. It's because Aristotle broke philosophy down into separate subdisciplines, some of which developed into modern medicine, some developed into modern physics, and so on and so forth.
Well, we still absolutely use Aristotelian logic today, but it's sort of like saying, well, you know, herbology is the mother of medicine, but we don't use it today necessarily. It is applicable, but we don't necessarily use the same thing. It's very strange to go, well, how do we find out if the Earth is round? Well, let's use philosophy. I mean,
they use it to try to find their God. Why not try to use it to find everything else?
That's true. But like, when you think about it, sort of philosophy became natural philosophy. And then that turned into naturalism, which was the study of the natural things around us. And then that became science, methodological naturalism. So this whole idea that you should go back to philosophy, why not use the techniques that we have now for studying the world around us, is very, very strange. It sounds like he just wants to say, well, science can be understood sort of from a philosophical view, methodological naturalism. Let's not do the natural. Let's just go back to the philosophy part. It's very strange. It's very weird. I'm sorry. It's just weird.
No, you're right.
I'm very excited to be here. And thank you, Sacred and Proudflurf and Nicola for hosting. Thank you, Reds, for the debate. And I'm very excited to be here. And if I have any other time left in my intro, I just like to do it to use it to drop all my links. It shouldn't take too long. And if you have to tell me to stop, that's fine.
Yeah, nope. You got 1 minute and 20 seconds. So you let me know when you're done. In the meantime, while Ben gets his links ready, shout out to everybody pulling up to the space. Episode 45, Debate Gate Flatter Fridays, Band versus Reds. You just heard the intros, and in just a second, we are going to jump into our presentations for positive evidence for both the challengers. Thank you guys for joining. Share the space. Follow who you resonate with.
So he doesn't seem to have much of a case.
Well, that's just his introduction to who he is, which is
okay. So he's not actually in his opening.
Yeah, I wanted to leave that in because because I didn't know either of these people, so I just wanted to leave it in. Spoiler: I still don't know either of these people, because I mean, Reds did say a little bit about himself. This guy didn't. He just praised Elon because of his incredible amount of bands. I think I know why he's called Band Notice now. And hey, Phil, good to see you. This isn't their introductions. I think Reds has to go with the to start off, and then we'll see. He's just getting his presentation ready.
To engage with the poll that we have going right now. It is the second post, the second tweet, all the way on the right. Tweeted by Proudflurf.
Oh, a poll. I love a poll. I really
20
do.
seconds, Ben. Let me know when you're ready.
Me too. We could ask.
Okay,
well, we could ask a lot of things.
Yeah, just tell me when you're ready.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to restart this timer. All right, now
Okay.
this is a fair and even level playing field debate. However, Ben
A
noted
flat and level playing field.
I always worry when people say that, like they have to say, "Hey, this will be fair." It's like, well, you're in a debate. Shouldn't the moderator be fair? Do you really have to tell people? I've never seen a professional debate where the moderator's like, "This is going to be fair." I don't know. It always makes me worry. And I you know, in fairness, some debates he says that, and it's totally fine. I always just get a bit worried when I hear it, though. I'm just going to do a quick poll as well.
So I will grant him the choice on who will go first with their presentation. Ben, go ahead and choose who will be the first to present.
I'll go first.
Ooh, humble. Okay, my guy. Hold on one second. As soon as you start talking, I will start the timer.
How is going first humble? How's that humble? I'm very confused. I'm very confused. Any idea? Okay.
Okay, thank you. In order to prove the flat Earth, I first have to define the flat Earth model. I'll be using government sources to do so. First is...
Sorry?
He said, in order to prove the flat Earth, I first have to define the flat Earth model. And I said, good plan. And also, exciting, we have yet to get a model from any of these guys.
Well, yeah. Well, here's the thing, and I will sort of die on this hill kind of thing. They do have a model, right? Like, so any description, any sort of claim about its shape, that technically is a model. It's not a very thorough model. It's not a very fleshed out model. It's basically the framework of a model, but it is a model, just as when we thought that the Earth was round, but it went round the sun. That's still a model, even though we didn't really have a way of describing it because we don't have the technology and maths that we do today. It is a model. It's just a really bad one, a really vague one. And my problem with flat earthers is they don't want to flesh it out. They want it to be as ridiculously vague as possible, because then they can sort of hide in the corners and go, well, we don't know what that looks like, so we can't tell you. Oh, nice, IC. So IC Spin's just got a video on their channel of where you counted the pixels of each frames of... Oh, the video was of reds? Okay. Gotcha, Spin. Just 1 second, and I will grab the link for it. That was a day ago? Yeah, gotcha. Okay, so a time lapse of the sun pixel count analysis. Okay, gotcha. So head over if you want to see pixel analysis from IC Spin. There you go, buddy. There you go. There you go.
A NASA document published in 1988 in which it states that a plane flies over a flat, non-rotating Earth. This is the primary form of the flat Earth, a vast, flat, and unmoving level plain going in all directions. Next is Operation High Jump, in which the military explored the Antarctica ice wall. The ice wall is the outer barrier of the flat Earth, which holds in the oceans. You can't contain water without a container, and the ice wall is a 360-degree container around the flat Earth that locks in the oceans.
See, now
Next is Operation Fish.
He's saying he's defining the model based on government documents, and he immediately goes off. He cites one conspiracy theory and then just starts layering assertions on top of it.
Right. So the whole idea, the document that he's referring to is a training manual for the Air Force, the United States Air Force, which tells pilots to assume that they're flying over a sort of stationary and flat plane when doing calculations. And the reason why they're doing that, they're saying assume it is this, just as you'd say in math, assume that X is a number in order to make a calculation. They're only doing this because it's a lot easier to make the calculations on a flat and stationary plane than a spinning sphere that, you know, you have to calculate so much into it. So it's only for training. It's not for, you know, they're not actually saying that it's flat and stationary. They're not.
In which the military in the 60s launched rockets at the firmament in order to try and break through the dome. Interesting to note the names of these operations as it indicates a cynicism.
The 60s? We launched rockets in the 60s to break through the dome. Is he talking about the Apollo missions?
I was thinking he might have been talking about the nuclear tests, but who knows?
When were the Apollo missions? Wasn't that the 70s?
Apollo was well, first we did Gemini. I can't remember off the top of my head when Apollo started, but
it
Apollo
started
11,
in 61.
Yeah, Apollo 11 was 1969.
Right. So I think he's talking about the Apollo missions, I think. The break through the firmament.
Sure.
And that the military does know the shape of the Earth. And that's why they give them such names as high jump to describe the tall ice wall, or fishbowl because it's like we were trapped in a giant container. Briefly, I'll describe
the names.
You say fishbowl?
Fishbowl. Well, Operation Fishbowl. I can't remember which one that was.
I gotta look that one up.
Well, I mean,
yeah. Okay. High altitude nuclear tests in 1962.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that's what he thinks was trying to break through. No. They just were testing atomic weapons. What? Why? And what was high jump? Was high jump where they tested on ground?
No, that was Admiral Byrd's expedition to explore Antarctica. We got
okay, gotcha.
so many photos of the ice wall and the interior, which you apparently can't reach because there's an ice wall. But we did, so yeah.
Okay.
what's underneath the flat Earth, which as far as any humans have ever dug is about 8 miles. So at the very least, we know there's 8 miles of Earth beneath the surface, but any claim of 4,000 or 8,000 miles of Earth beneath us has not been proven by any practical application. So the positive proof of the flat Earth is airplane flight. We have many pilots on video admitting that the Earth is flat.
So he's referring to one video where a flat earther is going up to a pilot and going, "Come on, we know the Earth is flat," and the pilot just going, "Yeah, sure, buddy." And it's probably got to do more with the fact that it's this crazed loon going up to him and hassling him than anything else. The question of why pilots don't have to dip their noses down is because if you follow the horizon, it will do that automatically. That will happen. There's no problem with that. Because if you're traveling, the horizon will be lowering, but if you're following the horizon, you will naturally just dip over. It's not a problem. It's really weird.
Top, I posted a video of a commercial airline pilot who admitted the Earth is flat. And the flat earther asked him an interesting question by trying to trick the pilot, asking if the nose of the plane is pointed at a negative angle so the plane could go over the curve of the Earth. The pilot caught the mistake and corrected him and said, no, the plane's nose is actually a 3 degrees positive angle. The 3-degree positive angle of the plane is a positive proof that we live on a flat, non-rotating Earth, as it would be impossible for a plane to go over a curve with a positive angle to the nose.
If the positive angle actually, if the angle of the nose actually curved the plane, then it would just keep going up and up and out into space, my guy. It's a positive angle because gravity exists. You need to go up to fight against it. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Wow.
And if even on a flat Earth, if it was a positive angle, why aren't you going out into space? Why are you still just staying level?
Yeah.
Weird. It's so weird.
To dip its nose down and constantly adjust its elevation if it had to fly over a curve. We also have
No, it doesn't, because if you follow like normal horizon lines, it's fine. It's not a problem because the horizon will constantly dip. But you don't notice it because it's so gradual. It's not like it's sort of dipping at 45 degrees. It's so tiny.
Former military F-16 fighter pilot who was interviewed by Globebusters who admitted the Earth is flat. This video is also on the Jumbo. The pilot stated that he used radar up to 50 miles and the F-16 radar capability actually goes up to 100 miles. 100 miles of radar can only work on a flat Earth.
Why? You do notice, you do know that the jet is at high elevation. Like, does he understand how, sight lines work for radar and communications?
I don't think so.
Do we need to show this to him? it was like Whitsett. I think it was Whitsett came out with one that was like, oh, these boats did the longest communication ever recorded on ocean, and it was between these two boats, kind of thing. And it was a huge amount of distance. But upon researching it, I found that it wasn't boat to boat communication. It was boat to land back to the boat. And even one of the photos that he showed had a big ass communications tower on a hill, kind of thing. And it's like, you do realize that the more you elevate, the further you can make it go. And then there's ionic bouncing, where you bounce the signal of the atmosphere, kind of thing.
Mhm.
There's a whole bunch of stuff, but we know, like, it's a reason why we elevate mobile towers in particular, because we can't just have them at ground level and reach anywhere. We can't. So this is a problem. If you want me to do some diagrams, let me know. I can pull out the whiteboard if you want me to explain it. But on a flat Earth model, there's no real reason to make the elevation any higher than practically. There's no real reason to do it, because the more you're elevating, the longer the signal has to travel. But on a globe Earth, there's a really good reason, and that's because of the curvature of the Earth.
This radar does not bend around curves. In the same way, submarine radar.
Well, no, but it propagates. It propagates, and it can bounce off mountains. It can do all kinds of things. It can bounce off things. We know this. It's not a problem.
That's how it works, in fact.
Yeah, it propagates, which means that it goes outwards, basically. So it can handle some curvature because it actually propagates. When it propagates, it moves outwards in a sort of cone shape.
Periscopes work the same way, as you can't have radar or optical vision bending around a curve. The F-16 could go up to 55,000 feet and has a top speed of 1,350 miles per hour. So if you imagine yourself in an F-16, you can go up, down, left, right. You'll be flying over a flat, non-rotating plane the entire time. The flat Earth is a logical system in that each reference frame is connected to each other in a flat and continuous plane, and not, for instance, curving and wobbling around. Other important proof of the flat Earth is the fact.
What? Who's curving and wobbling around of reference frames? What? I don't understand. We know that. So he's talking about inertial reference frames. It's basically it's just in physics. We're talking about things that are moving in certain vectors. So a vector is a three-dimensional path. So sort of X, Y, Z axis and a velocity. So it describes movement, essentially. That's a vector. So we're just saying that if you're headed in a certain vector, everything else traveling in the same vector will look like it's stationary to you. That's a reference frame. So it's not, I don't know why our reference frames would be wobbling around. It's almost like he's saying that they don't exist, that things, I don't know what he's saying.
It may be a reference to you globers think the Earth is just spinning through space on nothing. But right. I don't know. I'm speculating.
Yeah.
The horizon rises with elevation. This is an important point, so I'll repeat it again. When you raise an elevation, the horizon rises with you, allowing you to see beyond the horizon and onto more flat, motionless plane. This is illustrated up top by a video of a worker climbing a 1,500-foot TV tower. As the camera moves upwards, you can see the horizon expand so that more land is visible, and the increased elevation allows you to see more of the flat Earth. If the Earth was curved, you would see the Earth curving away from you, and your vision of the Earth would be limited by curving horizon. We also have the properties of water as a proof of the flat Earth.
Wow.
Sea levels,
It's just so wild. He's presenting evidence for a curved Earth and saying, but if the Earth were curved, it would do exactly what we observe it doing. If it were flat, you wouldn't have to get higher to see further. You'd have a different angle. It would limit foreshortening, but you'd see exactly the same, I guess, to the limit of atmospheric interference.
Actually, you would see less because of the hypotenuse of a right angle triangle. It is actually a further distance. If you elevate, you're actually getting further away from whatever you're looking at.
That's true.
So it shouldn't help. It should actually hinder, but it doesn't. And the mental gymnastics I've heard to account for this are staggering.
Reference frame for all measured elevations, for instance, 100 feet above sea level. While there are mountains and valleys on the flat Earth, what we really mean is that the sea level is the base or reference point for all elevations, and sea level is level. Water always finds its level, and it would be impossible for the sea to be calm or level if the Earth was spinning and curving. This also works for the Great Lakes. Water takes the shape of whatever container it is in, and so if you have a flat and level sea, and since 70% of the Earth is covered by water, I therefore conclude with 100% certainty that the Earth is flat. The properties of
Except,
he's 100% certain. Hold
Of
it.
course he is.
We've got to give up. We've got to give up. He's 100% certain.
Mark, he's been
no.
researching for 6 years.
Oh, that's right. 6 years research. This is what he gets. Water always finds its level.
Which
So-
is never true. I mean, here the label is in the way, but like it doesn't. It's not level. It curves slightly upward at the edges because there's the meniscus effect. If you have a drop of water, it's water just sitting on your tabletop. I guarantee you, it curves at the edges. Water is never fucking level. And then you want to go into the ocean. How about tides, my guy? The tides never stop.
Yeah.
Just what, where, how many,
And
etc.
But when we say level inside, like level can be used in a number of ways. And this is the conflation that conspiracy theorists do and, flat earthers do and young earthers do, especially young earthers as well, that they just sort of get words and use them incorrectly for the sciences. You take a colloquial and they say level as in, my desk is level, or, this coffee table is level kind of thing. But when we're talking about level in physics, you're talking about perpendicular to the center of gravity, the center of mass, right? So that's fine on a sphere. Level will be a curved surface. And they say, oh, well, how come we don't see it curved? Because it's a really big freaking curve. It's massive. You literally cannot imagine how ridiculously big it is.
Yeah, but you can actually use that leveling trick with the flat earthers' favorite tool, the Nikon P900 or P1000, whichever you prefer. They're both super, super zoom cameras, and they have a built-in level, right? You can see on your screen, there's two there's two lines, and when you're level, they turn green to show that your picture is flush and level and whatnot. If you have a open field of view, like on the shore of one of the Great Lakes, and you zoom, you level it out, point it at the horizon, and zoom all the way out, your shot will go clear over the horizon. It won't hit the horizon. You will miss the horizon because level, even from ground level, misses the horizon because at that distance, there's just a little bit of curve.
Water allow us to use a bubble level to determine relative flatness of a surface. So if you tilt the level, the bubble always moves in the direction of the higher end, as the air pocket always moves to the higher elevation. So for instance, if the bubble moves to the right, that means the right end of the level.
Is he really explaining how a spirit level works?
He is, but he's doing it in a way that disproves his point, because the bubble in a spirit level exists for the same reason a meniscus in a bottle exists, because the water doesn't level. If it did, it wouldn't be a bubble. It would be a very thin little dibby bit of air.
Right.
Is a higher elevation than the left end. If the Earth was curving or wobbling, we would not see a constant flat horizon out at sea. The horizon itself is only a visible horizon and not an actual line or curve of the Earth. I will present 3 ways that we can see beyond the horizon, which proves the horizon is only a perceived horizon and not an actual curve of the Earth. The first method is to use a high-powered camera to zoom into a boat that has previously gone over the horizon. If the boat had gone below the horizon, no amount of zoom, no matter how powerful, would be able to see the boat, as it would be obstructed by the Earth.
That doesn't happen. Like, you don't zoom in on a boat that's gone over the horizon and suddenly the bottom of it comes back into view.
Yeah, that's true. I've done that myself too.
Yeah.
I have some interesting photos. My computer crashed last weekend, so I don't have them handy because most of my data on the computer locally got wiped in the reset. But I think maybe a couple of weeks ago, I showed the cooling tower of a nuclear reactor sticking up over the edge of the horizon. And it's it's just the very tippity top of the damn thing. No amount of
Hmm.
zooming is going to bring the bottom back over the horizon.
Yeah. I did have, I'm not sure if I've still got it, but I did have a video of someone using a drone to bring the sun back into
Oh
view.
yeah,
That had
I've done that
set.
myself.
Um,
It's neat. You watch a sunset at your level,
Yeah.
and once the sun is completely down, you send the drone up, and depending on how fast it can go up, my drone can go gain altitude at 5 meters per second. So once the sun is completely gone, I send it up, and it takes like 12 seconds or so, and it's already high enough that you're getting sun rays. And by the time it reaches max altitude at 400 meters, the sun is completely up again. It's so cool.
Okay, just let me show this for a second. So this is the sunset basically, and check this out. This is done with just a drone, just a drone. If it ever plays.
It looks like it's moving.
Well, it's setting. The sun's setting. You can see the thingo.
Here we go. Let's go fly a kite up to the highest height. I'm feeling like Mary Poppins.
Yeah, and there it is. It brings the sun back into view.
Sorcery, witchcraft.
Right. I'm gonna say that keeps going. Yeah, and sort of. Yeah, actually brings the sun back into view if you keep going up, and that's due to the curvature of the Earth. Whoops! I think I just I just completely wiped it.
You broke it.
I broke it. It's my fault. It's totally
We're
my
breaking
fault.
all the things today, folks.
Damn right. I pride myself on it. Break it. Break it.
Another method without even using zoom is just to raise your elevation. By raising your elevation, you expand the distance at which you can see, so the previously unseen boat at sea level can now be seen once again from a higher perspective.
That makes no sense whatsoever on a flat Earth, especially if you're saying that the water is level, right? You're saying that water is the base level, and there's a reason for that. It's because of simple Pythagorean theory. What is it? A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So C squared. So basically, the hypotenuse of any triangle, a right angle triangle, because don't forget, you said that it was level. So if you go up in a perpendicular direction, you have a right angle. The distance of that hypotenuse that you're looking when elevated is actually the square root of A plus B. Oh, you've got you've got a something here.
Yep. This is another effect that we get with the horizons. You can see there's a few different examples of ships appearing to hover over the horizon. Now, on this one, you can see where the true horizon actually is, but there's this area where the water gets, it's reflecting the sky, the same way the pavement on a road can reflect the sky when you're at a severe enough angle. And that's another demonstration of a curved Earth, because
it's magic. It's magic.
The incidence angle of the water increases as it goes around the curve. It's very, very nearly horizontal in that section of missing water, which is why you get the mirror effect despite the ripples in the waves. It's the same effect as the highway having a mirror effect, even though it's not smooth at all, because the incidence angle is so severe. That makes sense on a globe because you're seeing it as it goes over the curve very nearly at eye level, dead on a flat Earth. That doesn't make any sense because you're seeing it at the same angle effectively.
I think there's down the bottom left, there's a picture there showing what exactly is happening. Yeah, that might be
over here
to see. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Let me see if I can make that bigger. Let's open the image in a new tab and share this tab. Okay. Magical flying ship. So objects appear higher. The actual ship is in the water, and it says light bends due to differing air density. Well, that can happen. You can get a mirage effect, but
yeah, that's refraction.
Yeah, but that's not quite what we're talking about.
Okay, gotcha.
Here.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, it's a different effect. And the photo that they're showing, that appears to be a Photoshop job to me, but I don't know. I'd have to take it into Photoshop and analyze. But like the lighting is different on the ship than it is on the water. It's just whatever. It's not important.
It's not important. It's cool.
Yeah.
It is cool though. And this is the
yeah.
thing, light can bend, it can do funny things, it can sort of show us mirages where no mirage exists, which is just a reflection on the land of the sky, so we think it's water. We can't...
that's the same effect. In the distance, the sand gets that mirror effect too, and it reflects the sky, and we're like, oh, hey, there's an oasis over yonder. It's just because it's far enough away, you're getting that mirroring effect.
Right. But here's the thing. That's why we have to rely on more accurate instruments than just we'll go out and look at the earth around you. It looks flat, because our senses, like our eyes especially, as reliable as they can also be fooled pretty easily. We've got to rely on other things. Especially when it comes to motion. They say, well, you're saying we're spinning at this speed, and it's like, well, as far as motion's concerned, our senses can be really manipulated. There is that effect that when you're sitting in a train that's moving past a stationary one, you get the overwhelming feeling that you're stationary and the other train is the one that's moving. Like, you get this overwhelming sense of it. Everything your senses are saying is that you're not moving. It's actually really interesting.
Oh yeah, Galileo wrote his relativity based on a similar phenomenon. He did a thought experiment. We get a lot of those in relativity theories, where he was talking about lounging on the deck of a boat and watching the shore go by. From your perspective, it looks like the ship is holding still and the continent is in motion. It's wild, but he's right.
Yep.
By proving the boat did not go over the curve. Finally, I took a picture of a container ship on Lake Erie that I posted up top. The atmospheric conditions made the horizon visually hazy. However, the ship was tall enough to where you could still see it above the hazy water. As a result, since you could see the boat more clearly than the horizon, it appears as if the ship is floating on the water. Again, this would be impossible if the boat was below a curve. Next is the laser light experiment, which I posted up top, in which flat earthers use a laser light over the Great Salt Lakes to see if the Earth curves at 8 inches per square mile, as required by the globe model.
That's not required by the game mod. That's an approximation. It works on shorter distances. As soon as you get to long distances, it kind of doesn't work at 8 inches per square mile. It's just an approximation.
And it's 8 inches per mile squared, not 8 inches per square mile. That's a whole different thing.
That's true. I didn't even pick up on that. That's I must be tired. I wonder if Lynn will make me another coffee. I really need to wake up. I didn't even notice that. So he didn't even get the straw man of the measurement right. Oh dear, this is going to be bad. It is going to be bad.
Total distance was 21 miles. The globe model predicts there would be 294 feet of curvature drop. 220 feet of elevation would be required to see the laser if we lived on a globe. The bright laser could be seen by the camera on the other side of the lake at a laser height of just 5 feet. The flat, non-rotating Earth is just one aspect of the flat Earth. Another key quality of the flat Earth is that it is an ordered and predictable system, compared to a chaotic system, which is an oxymoron and therefore impossible.
What? Where does a chaotic system, my guy? What? Brownian motion's a chaotic system. What is he talking about?
We're getting Brandolini's law from this dude. He's spouting so much bullshit. So it's a fire hood of falsehoods. Like, I'm just like, what's this bullshit about a laser beam on a lake kind of thing? And he's already off onto something else.
Yeah, I don't know. Why would you say chaotic systems cannot exist? It's not an oxymoron. It's not. It's just saying, hey, this system has unknown, like completely unknown and unapproachably known variables in it that we can't possibly put together. But we do know that chaotic systems do produce order, like weather systems. I don't think he understands what chaos theory actually is.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Poll says that sweet FA is the answer to the question. I'm just going to wind that up so I don't annoy everyone with the poll. But yeah, I think so too, chat. I think so too.
Fantastic.
You can see many aspects of order on a flat Earth. In order to prove this, I have to describe as best as I can the origin of the flat Earth. The flat Earth was created by God. God is an eternal, uncreated.
Wow. You went right to it.
He said, I'll explain the origin of the flat Earth, and I'm thinking that that canal experiment, or there was that society before flat Earth kind. I thought he was meaning the movement, but no, he means the actual flat Earth. It was created by God.
It took us like 90 minutes to get Flatzoid to admit that his beliefs are because Bible, and this dude's dropping it in the opening. That's wild.
Right. Usually they will not touch that with a 10-foot barge pole. Like, they will not go there. And this guy is just, no, I'm in 100%. Grab my Bible and whoop. Tinfoil hats on, boys. Let's go. Let's go.
Creator that created the flat Earth with purpose and intelligent design. When we see the sun, we know it is the source of all origin of life. It does not exist randomly. It exists with a purpose. The sun keeps track of the day. The phases of the moon keep track of the month, and the constellations keep track of the seasons. The North Star being fixed in the same part of the sky year after year for thousands of years, with all other stars in the northern hemisphere rotating around it.
For like 2,000 years, give or take.
Yeah, give or take. Well, don't forget, we've only been here 6,000 years, Em. So, you can't have longer than that. It's silly to think that there was a different star before the there was. Okay, well, it still doesn't make any sense. That's right. Yep.
A fixed, predictable, precise, and ordered system. Furthermore, the sun, moon, planets, and all 12 zodiac constellations all follow closely to the solar path, also called the ecliptic line.
Yeah, that's why they're the zodiac. They're called the zodiac because they're on the ecliptic.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it's sort of this idea that the sun is there to track the day and the moon to track the night, and it's all ordered. Then why do we have to adjust our calendar every 4 years?
It's a very precise design. For a while we ran with just a general 365 days, and every so often we had to throw in extra days to keep the seasons roughly in sync until finally somebody came along and hard adjusted the calendar and we added a leap year. But adding a quarter of a day to the calendar, so we get an extra day every 4 years, that wasn't precise enough. So we do it every 4 years, except on a century, except when that century starts with a 10 or a 5, and there's so many little asterisks, except, and it was clearly designed by an intelligent creator with precision knowledge and etc.
And Robin coming in for the member chat, Robin Webster, member for 13 months, over a year now, Robin. That is amazing. I love it. Lucky number 13. Woohoo!
Just like the number of constellations in the zodiac, the modern zodiac.
Right. I was born on the 13th of October, so 13 is my lucky number. So there you go. Absolutely.
From a star tracker app that shows the accurate location of celestial bodies in the sky. Just in one small portion of the sky, we see the sun, moon, Uranus, Mercury, Jupiter, Aries, and Pisces all close together, following along the ecliptic path. If we lived in a chaotic system,
they would, wouldn't they? The planets are also notoriously in the plane of the ecliptic, because the solar system is a flat disk, basically.
So the ecliptic plane is there for a reason, and it's called spontaneous synchronicity. It's the tendency for chaotic patterns to all synchronize in with one another. So the ecliptic plane, basically, if most of the planets are around that plane, the gravitational pull of each of them will equalize it to one plane. This is what we mean by we get order out of chaos. There's a really good video of metronomes, and you just start them randomly, and they're on a suspended platform. And the metronomes, they will synchronize, they will sync up, even though you just started them randomly. this is what we get out of chaotic systems. It's not some kind of sky god deciding to sync up those metronomes. It is just physics in action. Same with the planet's ecliptical plane. It's just the physics in action. There's nothing special about the zodiac constellations as stars go. And, you know, if you've noticed, we call like one Leo when it doesn't look like a lion. Like it really does. And you know, Orion doesn't look like a hunter and stuff. The constellations, they're not, like, I don't know why this guy thinks that.
Well, you know,
something
God
special.
created the constellations.
Oh,
even though they're named for Greek pre-biblical heroes, some of whom are gods in their own right. It's never mind that.
And we have Robin coming in with the gifted readership, and it hit Soul Watcher Paranormal. Congratulations. Enjoy your emo emojis and other benefits. Oh, God, I couldn't get that out for a second. Enjoy. Thank you so much, Robin. Really appreciate it. That's awesome. And if you are a member, you will get early access to some stupid things that I do. So you can enjoy that.
For the celestial bodies to follow the same path century after century for thousands of years. People sometimes ask how the flat Earth can explain eclipses. I am happy to explain that. Eclipses show us two important facts. One is that an eclipse proves that the sun and moon are the exact same size in the sky.
Well, they're not the exact same size. You know,
I've been waiting for like 2 years for a flat earther to explain how the fuck eclipses work. I'm so excited, and he leads off with, they're the same size in the sky. Fuck me.
Well, here's the thing. Like sometimes you get a corona around the eclipse. So depending on what eclipse it is, you get a ring around. This is what I've heard from flat earthers. I think Kyle said this one. No, it was P-Town or something. They're exactly the same size, and it's like, then why do some have a corona and some don't?
Yeah, annular eclipses. Those are fun.
Annular eclipses, and why are some not? And he's sort of like, well, they're almost the same size, and it's like, well, hold on a second. That's not true. You know, it's kind of this.
You've seen the moon go through phases. You know, sometimes it's bigger and sometimes it's smaller. Can you imagine what would happen if you did a solar eclipse with a half moon mark?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and you know, I don't know. It's just very, very strange that they'll sort of have this goalpost moving of, oh, well, they're exactly the same size, but it obviously varies whether you know, whether it's the same size. Well, it's about the same, but that doesn't make your system ordered. It means it varies very wildly. But he doesn't actually. He hasn't. I'd love to hear his explanation though. What these objects are, what it's actually doing up there. I really, you know, he hasn't explained that. He's just sort of said, they're the same size. Yeah, but why? What's actually causing that on the flat Earth model? Like, what's causing it?
How does it work?
It would be impossible if the universe was random and disordered. Imagine finding 2 pennies on the ground of the exact same size. It would be foolish to assume this happened by random chance.
2 pennies?
Are the same size.
Did he say 2 pennies?
I thought he said pens.
Path. If we lived in a chaotic system, it would be impossible for the celestial bodies to follow the same path century after century for thousands of years. People sometimes ask how the flat Earth can explain eclipses. I am happy to explain that. Eclipses show us 2 important facts. One is that an eclipse proves that the sun and moon are the exact same size in the sky. This would be impossible if the universe was random and disordered. Imagine finding 2 pennies on the...
Yeah, so if I hold like a quarter up in front of the sun and move it to block it perfectly, does that prove they're exactly the same size?
Clearly, absolutely. And if, you know, pennies, pens, whatever, if we're talking about something humans made to be identical,
right,
then them being identical wouldn't be a surprise.
Yeah, and they're not identical because of the corona that I mentioned before, the annular eclipses that occur. So what?
Ground of the exact same size. It would be foolish to assume this happened by random chance. And we know the coins are the same size because they were created.
Yeah, coins, pennies.
The second fact in the eclipse is that it proves the sun and moon follow the exact same path in the sky.
They
Eclipses
do not.
can only occur along the ecliptic path. That is how it gets its name.
If the moon and the sun followed exactly the same path, there would be an eclipse every month.
Constantly,
and the path
yeah.
of the eclipse wouldn't change every time
Right.
there's. What does he mean?
Right. Wow.
It
He does
hurts
know
right
that
here.
eclipses have different, like the sun and the moon are on different paths in different eclipses. He doesn't know that, does he?
No, I don't think he does.
Oh no.
No,
Oh
the
no.
moon is not actually on the path of the ecliptic because it's not orbiting the sun directly, it's orbiting the
Correct.
Earth.
Yep.
It's inclined several degrees. I forget exactly what it is. Anybody could look it up, but it's
But we-
inclined from the plane of the ecliptic.
But we can track this. We can track where the sun is going and where the moon is going. It's not like we know that they're not
Yeah.
following the same path.
In
Nobody
fact,
thinks.
we're in a lunar standstill right now, which what that means is here in the northern hemisphere, the moon is as far up in the sky as it gets because it's in. It has a higher zenith because of the way the inclination lines up with the path of the. It's higher in the sky, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Because of the inclined orbit.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying there. Yeah. I've not heard that before, but that's interesting.
Yeah.
If we lived in a chaotic system, there would be no reason to believe the sun and moon just randomly follow each other year after year for thousands of years.
Nobody thinks they follow each other. What are you talking about, my guy?
Which one is chasing the other, and what'll happen when they catch? What do you?
I think the moon is Fenrir and it swallows the sun when it catches up.
Nom nom nom.
Nom noms for Fenrir. I don't know. I just channeled my inner Yoda. I don't know why. I'm so sorry.
I knew I did. Strong is the dark side.
And next off, for the next proof, we're going to go to Jormungandr, the world serpent. I don't know what he's talking about. I have no idea.
X is a density and buoyancy model of predicting how objects move through different mediums. When an
This is kind of what we talk about when we talk about a scattershot opening. Like he's just reeling off stuff. Again, more and more stuff. He's not actually showing you how he's investigated or how he knows this or anything. He's just reeling off claims one after another in the hope that people can't address all of them. And how could you? He's been through so much stuff in the first 5 minutes. Like, how can you even begin to address all of this stuff? I think you mentioned earlier it's Bernardini's law.
Brandolini's law.
Brandolini's law.
Yes, the magnitude of effort to refute bullshit is 10 times greater than the amount of effort in spouting the bullshit. To it, you can just say something, and it'll take me 10 sentences to refute that something.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
object is denser than the medium it is traveling in, it drops. And what is lighter than the medium it is traveling in, it rises. So that if you drop a rock into the water and density model correctly predicts that the rock would sink. Not only does this model correctly predict the movement of an object.
How do you calculate density? I love asking that because the dishonest flat earthers will just avoid the question completely. How do you calculate this density? We can calculate how fast things fall through a medium by calculating density. Guess what you need to use to calculate density.
I'm still curious how things know which direction to fall in, even if you have some kind of magical density that does what he says. It still needs a direction to fall.
Well, you need mass to calculate density, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need the mass of the thing. So density is mass over area. So basically, things can be the same mass, but a higher density thing will have that mass in a smaller area. Essentially, that's it. That's all it is. That's all it is. And but in order to calculate sort of density, you do need the gravitational constant in order to calculate buoyancy kind of thing. You do need the gravitational constant, which they will just say, well, no, you don't need gravity. Well, yeah, you do. You absolutely do to calculate buoyancy. Absolutely.
Objects through different mediums. It also does not require any gravity calculations to do so. We also see how the entire world itself is like a magnetic model with a north and south pole and opposing lines of current. It is interesting to note that there is a northern pole star, but only an empty.
Did he say lines of current?
Uh-huh.
Does he mean magnetic current? I don't.
I think he means electrical, but that's
Electromagnetic?
typically what
It's
people
not-
mean. But I'm curious. He said the South
Lines?
Pole. Where does he think the South Pole is?
I don't know. Maybe under the Earth? It's really weird. Like I totally understand like what he means by lines of current. He's just talking about the orientation of the electromagnetic field around Earth. I think this is why I'm asking, but that doesn't work on a globe model because there, like as you said, there's no South Pole. So what's actually creating the current? What? What?
It's a mystery.
Southern node. This is similar to an electrical model in which you have a positive ion, but on the opposite end, a negative ground or empty node. This electrical current also explains why northern hemisphere stars circle around the North Star and the southern hemisphere stars circle around the empty node. The entire
Does it?
Do they? How do you explain that on a flat Earth? This is my favorite flat Earth debunk is the circumpolar rotation of stars. Like where are we looking at when we're seeing this the empty node, as you put it, in the south at the South Pole? Because we see the same stars if we look south from South Africa, Australia, and South America, all circling the same empty spot. How do we see that looking south?
Witchcraft. More sorcery. This is where if my button, I have to rebuild my entire fucking setup, folks, which is why I don't have my buttons handy. But if I had my buttons, this is where I'd hit the Spanish Inquisition one.
Yeah, it's very strange, like that he will actually draw attention to the circumpolar star rotation in the southern hemisphere, because that is, as far as I'm concerned, that is death for flat Earth, because you cannot explain why 3 different people on 3 different continents all look south and see the same stars rotating in the same direction around one central point. How does that work? I don't understand. It doesn't.
It's the electrical current bending around the circumpolar energy field that creates the density.
Ether. You have to throw ether in there somewhere. Yeah.
Of course.
It's the ether current causing the fluctuations of light photons to intersperse to your eyes from different directions. See, why do I suddenly feel like Witsit? I suddenly feel like I'm Witsit.
The world is like an electrical model, and since electromagnetism is a verified and practical application, it is a superior model compared to the gravity model. In conclusion, for this,
it's superior.
Gravity's been confirmed, completely confirmed. Like I mean, we're talking about Galileo was the first one to like actually sort of get a handle on gravitational movement. I believe that every object, no matter what the mass, falls at the same rate minus air resistance, essentially. And that was incredible discovery because, like, we didn't really know why. Now we understand why it actually happens. It's because gravity, in order to move an object, gravity needs to exert a greater force, on that mass to move that mass. But the more mass something has, the more it's affected by gravity. They kind of cancel each other out, which is wild. Weird.
For this reason and many others, we know the flat Earth is a flat and non-rotating plane, and it is intelligently designed because every day the sun rises and every day the sun sets in a predictable manner. We know the Earth is intelligently designed because the sun never randomly blows up like a SpaceX rocket. Thank you.
What?
Why would it?
He opened by praising Elon Musk, and he closes by saying it never randomly blows up like a SpaceX rocket, but also the sun is an ongoing fusion reaction. It is always blowing up. What are we talking about here? And how does that prove intelligently? Whatever.
I am responding to the wrong people in chat. Man, I'm tired today. Okay, I apologize for my tiredness, and my jokes are actually striking at the wrong people. So, bit of
What have you done?
bit of collateral damage there. I'm sorry, Marty and Left-Handed Jedi. I wanted to make a joke and I completely missed. So, well, the thing was that Left-Handed Jedi said, "Why can't I see the Southern Cross?" And I thought it was Marty that said it. So I said, "You forgot your glasses." Yeah, no, I should be banned from. I absolutely should be. Yes, you're right. You're 100% right. It's been like I've been working really hard over the last week, like incredibly hard. I really have been motivated, but yeah, I do apologize, everybody. It's been a rough couple of weeks, hasn't it? It's been a rough couple of weeks. Hang on. Just let me. Just let me. I'll do a self bonk. There we go. I'm suitably chastised. I've been researching a lot. Thanks, human girl. Yes. I've been watching YouTube videos and going to flat Earth sites. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I should. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate your forgiveness and your patience and understanding.
With 15 seconds to spare. Beautiful presentation, Ben.
I thought that was my screen then. I was like, oh, what have I done? And no, that's the video. Okay,
I do love an infinite regress.
Well, yeah. Who doesn't? Oh God, I think
Here's some positive evidence. Interesting to hear what Rez is going to say. Also, you guys, I am not going to be allowing any requests just yet. Hold on one second. I'm not going to allow any requests just yet. We're going to save all requests for the mics for the listeners during the Q&A. And I'm also going to be retweeting all the content that the challengers post up top, so you guys can follow my page for that too as well. Let me go ahead and restart the timer. Give me 1 second here.
That's more than 1 second. I call
that
shenanigans.
is more than 1 second.
All right.
Yeah.
At least it's not just us with technical difficulties.
Stream of the debate, Rez. Appreciate that. And you're up. Your 10 minutes will start as soon as you begin.
Thank you. All right, so thank you very much for having me for this debate. It is my assertion that the round earth model comports with reality, and the reason I am so sure of this is because of the observations I have done in the past, and I am not the only one who has made such observations. Many have, so allow me to present those to you right now. Again, this is now being live streamed on my channel if you wish to follow along. Link 1, on May 4th, 2019 at 2:48 a.m., we had a launch of a SpaceX Falcon 9, and you'll be happy to know that this SpaceX rocket did not blow up. This launch was special because the first stage booster was to land on a drone ship just offshore. So my good friend Astronomy Live and I traveled to Cape Canaveral, where we would simultaneously record this rocket launch. We were successful. And here's what we captured. When the first stage booster came in for its landing, the flame of the rocket, which was perfectly visible as it was coming down, became obscured by the water under it. During this capture, the only thing between our camera and the rocket was the Atlantic Ocean. Terrain was not an issue for this observation. We were dealing with open water. What our footage showed was 2/3 of the rocket being obscured behind the horizon. But most importantly, it showed an extremely bright light source being obscured by the water. Such a light source at such a distance is not going to be hindered by the law of perspective or the inverse square law. The only thing that changed within those few seconds was its altitude, but not its distance. So if it was visible before, it should have been visible then. Therefore, the only way for that light source to be obscured in the way that it was in our footage that we captured ourselves and didn't have to go to NASA to get is for something to be in the way. And the footage clearly shows that it's the water that's in the way. The round earth model provides a damn good explanation for why the water is in the way. That explanation is that the water is curving with the earth. Listed in the description of my live stream will be the 2 video links that documented this event. Link 2.
I'm so happy
for a little bit
that
longer.
we got.
The next big piece of evidence I wish to present is luminous launches.
All right.
I'm so happy that we got that legendary Falcon fuselage landing that we were discussing at the very beginning.
Yeah. Well, I'm not even sure it was the same landing because this is obviously at night, so you can see the booster, and the other one was during the day because, you know, you had to see the rocket go behind the thing. But this is even better because why can't you see the light from the underside of it? There's nothing in the way to block it. And you can't say, hey, the distance is too great because it was visible while it was going to land. So why can't you see the light? What's obstructing it? Fantastic.
If you hold a sphere up to a light, it will have edges to that illumination. The edges of the illuminated surface will therefore be tangent with the line of light. This means that just before dawn and just after dusk, light would actually be heading upwards and away from you and at an angle according to the round Earth model. This means that even though it would be dark where you are, there is indeed sunlight streaming overhead. You just happen to be at a location where the sun's light is blocked by the curvature of the Earth. So if an object were to reach the necessary altitude, it could cross into the path of that light and illuminate itself. It would be seeing over the curve to the sun. That is what is predicted by the round Earth model, but has this been demonstrated in reality? Well, actually it has, thanks to the launch of a few rockets. We have the Atlas V N-22 with Boeing Starliner, launched on December 20th, 2019. We have the Atlas V 551 with AEHF-5, launched on August 8th, 2018. We have SpaceX Falcon 9 with CRS-15, launched on June 29, 2018. We have the Atlas V 551 with MUOS-4, launched on September 2nd, 2015. I have filmed every single one of those rocket launches, and listed in my description, you will see a link to each of the videos showing the rocket gaining altitude in darkness, and then at a certain point becoming illuminated by the sun that is beyond the horizon. It is no secret that the round Earth model has an explanation for what we are seeing here. What we are seeing is the effect of curvature, and it comports perfectly with reality. Link number 3. You don't need rockets necessarily. You can confirm the validity of the round Earth model with a ship and a bit of distance, as Bandnote has said. And if you make your observation on a clear day, you will then see what a user by the name of MC to MC1 was able to record. Listed in my description of this debate is the video I'm referring to. It shows a tanker ship being partially obscured by the horizon, yet with absolutely no visual limitations via the atmosphere. This observation was done on a very clear day. It's also worth pointing out that we have enough angular size to work with when it comes to the ship in question. Therefore, the law of perspective is not an issue here. The only reason why the ship would be partially not visible is if something was in the way, and the video clearly shows that it's the water that's in the way. The very same water that finds its own level, which in this context means perpendicular to the pull of gravity. This is great because this is exactly what is predicted by the round Earth model.
And the pull of gravity is always towards the center of mass. Yes, so it's perpendicular to the center of mass.
The only thing that could make this observation better is if I did something similar myself, which I did. My observations repeated video, where I filmed a sailboat disappearing over the horizon, is such an observation. While not as clear as the first video that I'm currently referencing, it's clear enough to show the geometry of our planet at work, and that link to the video will also be listed in my description. Link 4. This can also be done with a continuous visual reference, like with a straight and level bridge. And so, this is what we see thanks to Soundly, another YouTuber who lives near Lake Pontchartrain and the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway. The length of this bridge makes it possible to see the curvature of the Earth directly. Posted are my most recent tweets, or this most recent tweet showing.
Yeah, I love the Lake Pontchartrain bridge. It's massive and very, very long. But you can see the slight curve, and the mental gymnastics that Flat Earthers come up to explain this away is actually pretty hilarious.
That's currently being shown
was
on
just
screen.
Watching. So Flatzoid had another debate today on another channel, and I tuned in for a couple minutes just to see what Flatzoid is up to see if any new arguments have been developed or whatever. And he was going off on Lake Pontchartrain, and it was actually kind of funny because Ryan was modding and he couldn't pronounce Pontchartrain, and Flatzoid corrected him because this comes up all the time. And he just threw out some random crap about, oh, it's foreshortening and the angle of approximation. And I'm like, you're trying to wits it. Don't wits it. You're not wits
Yeah. Terrible.
You can see this level bridge literally curving with the Earth. Amazing. Link 5. What is amazing here is that on his channel, this observation was virtually modeled with the assumed size and shape of the globe on his channel. And when you compare the computer renderings to what was actually observed, they match perfectly. This shows that the round Earth model made a prediction, and that prediction turned out to actually be the case. This is great because only models that are able to reliably make predictions are the ones that should be followed and trusted. And I think it's safe to say that the round Earth model has passed that test. Sticking with the horizon, we also have my Tampa Bay blink test. This was done on November 18th, 2018. For this observation, I traveled to the north side of the Skyway Bridge and parked at the beach rest area. I used my Nikon P1000 to zoom into the Tampa Bay skyline, which at this point was 24 miles away. After taking an image, I then traveled to Bayshore Boulevard, which was only 3 miles away from that same skyline. After taking the closer image with the same exact camera, I was able to superimpose both images together, and the end result was this. The comparison between the two images clearly showed a sizable portion of the towers being obscured by the water from 24 miles away. Almost all of the Wells Fargo building was behind the horizon, and about half of the Bank of America building was blocked by that same hump of water. I've been back to this location multiple times, and never have I been able to see the towers in full, nor the runway to MacDill Air Force Base, which sits between where I was and the Tampa Bay skyline. And finally, this is my most powerful piece of evidence, the equatorial telescope mount. An equatorial telescope mount is a mount for telescope cameras that compensates for the Earth's rotation relative to the sky. It works by having one rotational axis parallel to the Earth's axis. The advantage of an equatorial mount lies in its ability to allow the instrument attached to it to stay fixed on any celestial object while driving only one axis at a constant speed. This mount works so well that it's used by astrophotographers because it corrects for field rotation, which is a huge benefit because field rotation will ruin any long exposure shot.
I haven't heard of this one before. I really haven't heard of this one. I'm really fascinated.
Yeah, these are so fucking cool. And you can see some examples of that. I've wanted one of these forever to get a good one that can hold a full-size, full-frame camera. Little expensive, and I've been poor forever. But our friend Cosmic Kyle, who is infamous for his magical space photos. I have 3 of his prints on my wall, and you can buy them from him on Facebook. Find, Cosmic Kyle. But, plugs for our friends notwithstanding. He's got a gizmo with a built-in equatorial mount, so he can keep his camera on anything you can think of, on Andromeda, on the Sol Nebula, whatever, and he can collect exposures that are hours long, because we can't do that with normal cameras because the frickin' Earth moves. That's another way we can demonstrate that the Earth is in fact in motion. It's not a stationary plane, but details. But yeah, an equatorial mount can do that. It can correct for the rotation of the Earth if you calibrate it correctly.
Cool. I was unaware of that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So if you were to model this mount working in reality, or you were to model this mount working as it does in reality, you will find something really, really awesome. This is where the video I'm currently sharing is very important. When modeled to comport with actual observations, including the observation that the EQ mount works, the only model that results in 0 contradictions is the round Earth model. To make matters worse, or better, depending on which side of the debate you're on, it also verifies the accepted size of our spherical Earth. In short, any other shape would not work with this mount. It has to be a round Earth. It is geometrically impossible. Let me repeat that. It is geometrically impossible for the EQ telescope mount to work on anything other than a round Earth. With that, I relinquish the rest of my time to the moderator. Thank you.
And I think that's sort of very similar to the sort of the ring laser gyroscope, that it measures movement in 3 dimensions and not just 2. And that's a really big thing, because if it was just 2, then maybe, X and Y, you might have a flat Earth model there, but it doesn't, measuring it in 3, which means that it can't be a flat Earth.
Yeah, that's exactly it, because unless you're shooting at something that is exactly parallel to your line of latitude, you have to factor in all 3 axes. So yeah, I mean, we love that clip from Bob, 15 degrees per hour drift. But yeah, this includes a 3rd axis, which is why it's proof positive the Earth has to be a sphere. It wouldn't work on a triangle. It wouldn't work on a donut. It wouldn't work on a Minecraft box. It has to be a sphere.
Right.
Sacred.
Ooh, with 52 seconds left. Okay. Red don't come with the science shit, right? A little bit surprised that he didn't use the Jumbotron. I was expecting a little bit of content posted up there. Like I said, he is streaming to his YouTube, but we do have listeners here, and I would like to see a little bit more content posted up top. But I appreciate that from both of the challengers. There you go, guys. Those were positive evidence for the ideology for globe Earth and flat Earth. Tweet at us. Let us know what you think about that
ideology. I'm not sure I'd say either is really an ideology. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I mean, an ideology is really your, okay, let's just call it an ideology. What the hell?
first segment. We're going to move into the rebuttals. Each challenger for their first rebuttal is going to have 10 minutes. So go ahead and drop your comments in the bubble in the chat. Let us know what you think so far. Appreciate you guys pulling up. Share the space and follow the host, the co-host, and the speakers if you resonate with them. Give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and restart this.
So while he's cooking,
Yeah.
I decided to pull up the actual definition of ideology. There's two, and they're both fun.
Okay.
The first is a system of ideas and ideals, especially ones which form the basis of economic or political theory or policy, such as the ideology of democracy. The second is an archaic definition, which is the science of ideas, the study of their origin in nature. It's ideology. And I love that. I want that to be a thing again.
Well, I feel that he's using the archaic version there. I don't think either really forms the basis of, you know, somebody's political or any kind of belief that they have. I think that if you're talking about ideology, the red side would probably be science and sort of naturalism, and the other guys would be because God, Bible, you know, Christianity.
Not that.
You know, right. Not that. Yeah.
All right, next up, rebuttal stage. Ben, you got 10 minutes. Hope you took your notes. I know Rhetoric is prepared, so let's see what you got to say as soon as you start. Timer will begin.
Okay, so you mentioned a lot of times the word round. See, the thing is that a flat Earth can also be round. So I just wanted to point that out.
That's such a it's so just conflating words. Like, we all understand what he means by round. He's talking about spherical, not like, but a flat Earth can be round. It's like, yeah, but that's not what we're talking about. That's not the context he's using it in. Yeah. It's so sort of stupid, you know, like he's just sort of, you know, it's ironic because it's just conflation and
it's
rhetoric.
word games. It's kiddie table bullshit because he knows he's got nothing, so he has to play word games. Same bullshit the apologists do.
Yeah.
So you mentioned more SpaceX rockets, and you even said that they landed offshore. So they did not land, for instance, on the moon or on Mars. Nobody's really impressed by rockets, considering in the 70s we actually went to the moon. So we're actually stepping back in terms of space exploration. It doesn't really matter how many SpaceX.
What does that have to do with anything?
We sent rovers to Mars, my guy. Like, nobody's stepping back. We're just using, like, why send a person to a place if we can send a drone for a fraction of the cost to do exactly the same thing? I don't know why we would send humans anywhere if we didn't need to.
It's wild, and nobody's impressed by rockets, yet he opened his introduction by sucking Elon's disc about how amazing he is with his rockets and things.
Yeah. Wow.
Rockets don't blow up because none of them go into outer space, and in fact, many of them do blow up.
I'm sorry, did he just say rockets don't blow up because they don't go into outer space, and many of them do blow up?
Sure did. He contradicted himself in two different ways within the same sentence. That's kind of impressive.
Right. And let's not set aside the fact of why would they blow up if they go into outer space? Why would they suddenly blow up? Is it supposed to bounce off the...
How do they blow up? Because, as you know, there's no oxygen in space, so you can't explode, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I presume he means that they can't get past the firmament. They would blow up on the firmament, but like, they don't blow up because they can't get into outer space, but they do blow up. Okay, wow. Wow. You realize if there's no firmament, they shouldn't blow up, right? They shouldn't hit this firmament and just explode. Like, wow.
You also mentioned one of your experiments that I've seen before, in which you're trying to claim that a certain height, and I'm still talking about your first point, where the rocket is at a certain height, and so now it could somehow see the light over the curve. This is impossible because light does not curve, and I also have a flat Earth explanation for this. And I mentioned it earlier, when you rise in elevation, the horizon rises with you. As that rocket rose in elevation, it became visible to the line of sight of the sun. This works perfectly well on a flat Earth. Next.
It doesn't, though. The horizon
How are you ever
rises
below the
with
line
you.
of sight of the sun if the Earth is flat?
And plus, you do know that, like, if you rise, the horizon dips, right? You do know that. Like, if a jet goes higher, the horizon line will actually go down.
Oh yeah, that's another one of my favorite pieces of proof. It's another photo. It's a random snapshot from a day at work that anybody could take themselves under the right conditions, where we see the red light of dawn reflected on high up clouds, but you can see clear to the horizon and the sun is not up yet. How does that work? The light is coming from below the clouds.
I came to that conclusion when I was really young. You know, you see the sun coming up from beyond the horizon. I think it was sort of near dawn. I mean, it was basically in the middle of the night. It was near dawn, and I'm like, oh, that's the light coming up from behind the curvature of it makes a lot of sense if you actually think about it. Like, why does the light, you know, suddenly get you see the light from the sun if it's sort of 4 a.m. or something, you know, you see the light from the sun, then the sun starts to come up. It makes total sense. I don't understand why flat earthers think the way they do. It's weird.
Yeah, where I am at around 43 degrees latitude, we're still far enough north that if I do a long exposure photo, I can track the progress of the sun from where it sets in the west across the north end of the compass where the North Pole would be until it rises in the east. I mean, you need a long exposure, but you can get like dawn colors due north when the sun is behind the North Pole. It's freaking wild.
Yeah.
Point, you mentioned again a rocket, and you were saying something about how when the sun sets over the globe. Now, I've spent a lot of time on the beach. I've watched a lot of sunsets. If the Earth was curving, and especially at the horizon, you would see rays of sun going straight up into the air towards the sky and not necessarily towards the beach. Well,
we do see that. They're called crepuscular rays.
Right. And you do know that sort of that light, it diffuses, so it lights up all kinds of things. You don't just get straight line rays going up, like you'll see light in general. It would be like if somebody had the edge of a tabletop and a bulb down below, you're saying I should see straight rays up above it, just above, and not, you know, you shouldn't see light where you are. What are you talking about, my guy? Like, seriously, what are you talking about? The whole point is that you can see that the opposite side away from the horizon. I presume he lives in the East Coast because he's talking about sunrise. Did he say sunrise? Anyway, either or. You know, the opposite side is dark, right? Like the side away from you is dark and the side towards the either sunset or sunrise is light. But if you take a bulb below your desk, it's not just straight line rays up. It's you see the light diffused above it, but you don't see the bulb and you don't see straight lines. I am so bewildered as to why you would see just straight crepuscular rays up. I'm baffled as to why you'd see that.
What we see after a sunset is that there is still some visible light. I believe that's called dusk. The same thing happens.
I believe that's called dusk. Yeah, I believe the same, sir. I don't.
Right before sunrise. I could be getting that wrong, dusk and twilight, you know. So the point is that in a flat Earth model, this makes sense because you can still see the light as the sun is moving away from us. On the globe Earth model, you would have to explain why the sun isn't going straight up in the air over the curve. Point 3, you were talking about a ship in the distance, very similar to my picture. You made it clear that the atmosphere was clear. I don't really have any way of verifying that. But you said the phrase water finds its level. And then you also said in point 1 that water curves. So you're trying to say that the rocket was obscured by the curve of the water, but then on point 3, you say water finds its level. So I really want you to bring positive proof.
Did he say water finds its level, or did he say that
he
flat Earth
did,
is safe?
but it was like included in a sentence where he was very clearly mocking the flat Earth position.
Right.
Like he said it to make fun of you, my guy. What were you paying any attention?
I don't think so. I think that was lost on him, that he's sort of saying, hey, they say water finds its level, and level is perpendicular to the center of gravity. That's what he said. So that doesn't help you. Like, if level is perpendicular, like you could say, hey, level isn't perpendicular to the center of gravity because gravity doesn't exist, or some dumbass flurf stuff you could make up. But just saying, hey, you admitted water finds its level. Yeah, and level was the center of gravity, which for the Earth, wow. You wasn't listening at all.
Nope.
Like, really. I swear, some of them have a filter in their minds to only hear certain things that you've said and just to pounce on it, kind of thing, even if you're saying it in order to refute it. Like, I don't...
That water can actually curve. Point 4, you said something very interesting. You said a straight level bridge going over a curvature. I don't know how a straight level bridge goes over a curvature. So like,
we know you don't know, Ben. That's sort of the point.
We're aware, yeah. Like, it's straight, as in it doesn't deviate. Wow. Does he know that, like, in reality, there's no such thing as a straight line? A straight line is really a mathematical formula. There's no perfectly straight line. Like, it's just a curvature with the angle of 0. Like, we don't get straight lines in reality. There's no such thing. Because it always curves.
Every line is a little bit gay.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Everything's a little bit gay, I think. I think that's the truth.
I do not think this is positive proof of the globe model. I think this has to do with atmospheric distortion. In the same way that if you say this bridge is curving over the horizon, I guess according to my picture, the ship is actually floating over the sea. Point 5, I didn't...
What? The ship is actually floating over the sea.
Who needs physics? What's reality anyway?
Okay, we've got magic boats now as a form of evidence for the flat Earth.
Why did we
didn't
bother
think
inventing airplanes?
I don't know. I want a magic boat all of a sudden, though. Like, seriously.
Oh yeah, that was as you know, I have a whole cosplay about being the commander of one of the Red Wing airships from Final Fantasy. I've always wanted an airship.
Nice. But is that a boat? Is that technically a boat?
Well, yeah, they're like ships with like steampunk propellers to make them fly. As opposed to
airships.
Yeah, real airships
Zeppelin,
are like
right?
Zeppelins and things.
Yeah,
I mean, that would be
okay.
cool. I'd take one of those too, but like an actual flying ship, fuck yeah, sign me up.
Didn't quite catch.
Didn't in one of the Final Fantasy you had a flying city that you roamed around in? Now that is some POG energy right there. Flying city.
All of that, but I think
it was the school or something. It was like the school. Anyway, I'm getting like down memory lane. I think it was Final Fantasy VIII from memory. You flew a school around. Like, I'll see your boat and I will raise you an academy.
you referenced a computer rendering. I posted up top how a Glober lost in court because he sued a flat earther who presented a challenge of trying to find proof of the globe. The Glober lost in court because he presented a computer model. We do not want your computer models. We want positive proof that the Earth is a spinning ball going around the sun.
Okay, so that's really misleading. That is very, very, very misleading.
And
so
a red herring.
And a red herring. So basically, the court didn't rule that he didn't prove the globe Earth, right? They just ruled that the person who made the competition could rule on the legitimacy of the submissions. That's all. Whether it had worked or not. Like, they basically said that whoever did the competition, because they had stipulated that they would judge them, and the person went in with the understanding that the people who did the competition would be judging whether that proof had been satisfied or not, the courts upheld that the organizers of the competition were the arbiters of whether the conditions had been satisfied. That's all. That's why Hovind can keep getting away with saying, hey, I'll give $1 million to anyone that proves evolution. And he keeps getting away with it because really it's up to the person who runs the competition to be judged whether it has been satisfied or not. And that's what the courts upheld. They didn't strike down globe Earth. They didn't uphold flat Earth. They upheld the idea that the organizer gets to choose whether the conditions had been met. That's all. So yeah. Complete, misleading. Who would have thought it?
That never happens.
Yeah.
And I could talk more about your other points, but in addition to listening to what you said, I listened to what you did not say. You did not bring.
This is a rebuttal, sir. I suppose you can rebut the points he didn't make, but that's weird and odd. Why don't you rebut the points he did? He didn't address the telescope thing, the gyroscopic telescope. He didn't address a lot of stuff, actually. Why is he going on to stuff he didn't say? I don't understand.
A positive model of the globe model. You did not talk about the Big Bang. You did not talk about orbits. You did not talk about gravity. You did not talk about the creation of the planets. You did not talk about the rotation around the sun at 66,600.
Why would he talk about Big Bang?
Right? You didn't talk about a whole bunch of things that have nothing to do with what he didn't talk about. The Pope. He didn't talk about what kind of what brand of pizza is best. He didn't talk about Coke or Pepsi.
Right. He didn't talk about Xena Warrior Princess. And I prepared for all of these things. I prepared for gravity and you didn't talk about it. How dare you, sir? How dare you? What the hell? What am I watching right now?
The outrage.
100 miles per hour. You did not talk about the tilt of the Earth at 66.6 degrees. All these 666s are in there. And you did not talk about the sun's movement around whatever mystery object it's revolving around. I took the time to describe the flat Earth model. I even took a risk to myself to talk about the origin of the flat Earth by invoking God. I'm sure I'll get hate for that.
The tilt of the Earth isn't 66.6. Well, what's he talking about?
Yeah, it's like 34 degrees.
It's 23.5. The axial tilt. I don't.
Oh yeah,
why?
we're talking about something else. Oh.
Why is? What is he talking about?
I know they've said it. I can't remember what it's in reference to, though.
Is it like the Milanovic cycles or something?
66.6 degrees. I'm not getting really good
the difference
answers.
between horizontal and perpendicular is 90 degrees. So 90 minus 23.4 degree axial tilt is 66.6. But why are you minusing it off 90 degrees?
To get the 666, I guess.
What? Why?
So I tried to look it up. And there's no answer. Like, one person says, well, the Earth's radius is equal to 66 times 6. Another person says the force of gravity is 66.6.
Oh, no. Okay.
What are we doing, folks? What are we doing?
So it's a complement, like a 90-degree complement to the tilt is 66 points.
It's just a way to get a number they're searching for, which goes to show how they do their research.
Yeah, because I mean, like, if you're talking about a sphere, why use a 90-degree angle? It doesn't make any sense. It's really weird. But he's saying the tilt. No, the tilt's 23.4. Stop.
And I welcome it. You, on the other hand, did not provide positive proof of your globe model. You didn't provide any of the claims and any of the suspicions that flat earthers have about the globe model, such as orbits, Big Bang, and all the other things that I mentioned.
You didn't mention those in your opening, though. And also, it wasn't his rebuttal, it was his opening. And also, he did provide 4 pieces of positive evidence. What do you mean, my guy?
Instead of what the other guy did, which was scattershot claims, so you can't possibly get to all of them. It's so bad. Like, seriously, he gave you 4 really, and he didn't really refute any of them. He just said, hey, they work on a globe Earth. How do they work? How do you calculate them? What do you do to show that that's actually working the way you say it's working? Because he gave some clear lines of evidence of this is the only way these things will work is on a globe model. And he's just like, no, it'll work on flat. No, it'll work on flat. How? I mean, this guy even owned gold by bringing up circumpolar star rotation.
Mm-hmm.
And he owned gold by, saying, hey, God created the flat Earth. So, great.
Love it.
I want to talk about, and I think I have about 5 minutes left. Is that about correct, Sacred? Anyway.
Yes, you do. You have 5 minutes.
Cool. When I was joining this debate, the topic was I have to bring positive proof of a flat Earth. And that kept being said over and over and over again. And yet here I am, not seeing positive proof of the globe, and you didn't even present the globe model. And so here's what I really want to say about that, because all the other Globers in the comments were like, I bet he's not going to bring positive proof. And let me tell you what this is. That is called gaslighting. It is when you're trying to trick somebody.
Is he like, seriously, he is just saying, hey, I'd be gaslit. No. Like, where's your positive proof? Like, you've made a lot of claims. Where's your actual evidence?
It was an opening. What do you mean gaslight? What? He keeps saying that word. I don't think it means what he thinks it means.
Right. Well, I think he's reading the chat and they're saying, hey, the globe guy brought some positive proof, as in things that we can test ourselves and sort of, things we can do ourselves. And things that he's done. He brought video, he brought all of this evidence. And the ban notice didn't bring any evidence. He just made a bunch of claims of how things should work on a flat Earth when they don't. So I think he's reading the chat and going, oh, you're gaslighting me. No one's gaslighting you. Look, you may disagree with their opinion, but they're not gaslighting you. Like, that's an intentional manipulation of somebody to make them think something. It's like when people go to me and they go up and they go, oh, you're so terrible at debate. I was a globe earther and you convinced me to be a flat earther kind of thing. That's gaslighting, right? That's them knowing that isn't true and trying to convince me of it. That's what they're doing. So if you just disagree with someone and go, hey, you didn't provide evidence for flat Earth, that's not gaslighting. That's just you not providing evidence for flat Earth. Weird.
They know the truth, but you're trying to convince them that what they know is not the truth. Another term for this is psychological projection, where you transfer your insecurities and shortcomings onto other people. We do not have that problem. If you want positive proof of the flat Earth,
that's not another term for gaslighting. That's a different thing.
That's a different thing. And no one's gaslighting. You can say, hey, but the funny thing is, he's saying, hey, you didn't provide proof of a globe Earth. Why isn't that gaslighting? Because I don't think it is. I think you're wrong, right? I think that you are incorrect. And he did provide evidence for a globe Earth, but I don't think you're gaslighting him to believe something different. He sounds really shaken, actually.
He's this whole projecting his gaslighting.
Right. It's this weird thing that he's sort of, but I don't think he's gaslighting. I think he just disagrees. But it sounds like he's really rocked by this, and he's like, oh, you're gaslighting me to believe that everything I believed is nonsense. No, he's telling you everything you believed is nonsense. He's not gaslighting you. What the hell are we watching?
It's very simple. We have a flat horizon at 100,000 feet. That's it. That's the whole proof. And I see in your comment sections where you're like, oh, that flat earther, he uses his eyes. Yes, we use our eyes. We use basic observations. And this is what proves the flat earth.
Therefore, mirages are pools of water
That's true.
that magically vanish when you get closer to them.
What does he mean? We have a flat horizon at 100,000 feet. Even if I know he's talking about visible curvature, but the thing is, you can find visible. Again, take your P1000, set it up, use a tripod with a built-in level to make sure it's absolutely level.
Yeah.
Zoom into the horizon, which you will miss because level is above the horizon because of curvature, and then pan the camera. See what happens. The horizon will go like this, and eventually you'll be looking at a solid wall, even though the camera's level, because the fucking planet is curved.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild.
It's very simple. And when we talk about positive proof, we don't want computer models. We don't want rockets that blow up.
Did he give computer models? I suppose he did for the bridge, right? The bridge that you failed to explain away, because you said, "Hey, he said it was straight." Yeah, it's a straight bridge that goes over the horizon.
Yeah, you can follow. You can go along the bridge. In fact, I've driven over it holding a level.
Yeah.
Well, technically, the other driver was driving because I was holding a level. But like when we went to Louisiana, I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna hold a level the whole way across the bridge. It's flat the whole way across, even though it curves. It's wild. It's magic. It's sorcery. It's proof of a god because clearly the laws of physics are being violated. It is definitionally a miracle, right? That's how that works.
Maybe. I don't know. It's so weird. It's so weird. Like he's basically jumping on, well, you said straight as being his proof that bridge would curve on a flat earth. Why would it curve on a flat earth? Like just ignore the straight that he said. Like he means like going in one direction. Mm-hmm. You know, I ignore that. Why does it curve over the horizon? Why? He doesn't explain that. And I don't know why. It's weird. It's very strange. But nice job by Red's Rhetoric. They were really good pieces of evidence, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. In fact, bringing up the Celestial Mount. Now, obviously, that's a thing I've been aware of.
Celestial Mount, yeah.
But I've never brought it into a debate before because I've never found a way to explain it in a way a flat earther would understand quickly.
Right, yes. Yeah, I can imagine that's a problem, yeah.
We don't want explanations that could also be explained on a flat earth, like, for instance, the sun curving around. You have to prove that light curves. You have to prove that water curves.
The sun is not made of light. What do you mean the sun curving around because light doesn't curve? What?
When did he say the sun curves? I don't... What are you talking about? The sun curves. What does that even mean? Those words when put together don't mean anything. The sun, what do you mean the sun's, like we orbit the sun? Is that what he's trying to say? I don't even get it. Like, seriously, what did you hear when he said the words that he said? Because you don't seem to put them together correctly.
There's a lot of conflation in equivocation and just not understanding going on in this man's head, and he's putting it on full display.
Yeah, for all the world to see.
World at large, they get it. They say, oh, you know what'll shut those flat earthers up? If you just take them into outer space. Well, gee, why has that never happened? All Elon has to do is take us stupid flat earthers up into space and up to Mars, but that doesn't.
Okay, I'm game. Is Elon game? No. He would rather get millions from space tourism, strangely enough. And flat earthers don't seem to have a lot of money to their names for some strange reason. I'm not sure why. I don't know. Like, why don't they take one flat earther?
In fact, there was that one flat earther who built a rocket to try to go look for himself, and he did it wrong. He should have called one of the engineering flat earthers to come help, but alas.
Yeah.
But at least he tried.
That guy died. It was a steam-powered rocket. and he died because it was a steam-powered rocket.
Happen. I appreciate that you're trying to prove the globe Earth, but really, there's a lot easier ways to do it. If you had a picture at 100,000 feet of the horizon curving, you would use that as proof. And I know that's true because they always try to pass off wide-angle lenses. And so the other thing is, and I was kind of a little disappointed you didn't bring this one up where you talked about the solar filter on the sun, but I'd just like to say that while you guys make fun of us for using our eyes and our basic observations, I would just like to give advice to the globers and say, maybe if you used your eyes, you would be able to see the truth. And you don't need to see reality through solar filters, through CGI, through wide-angle lenses. You could just use basic observations, and that does, in fact, prove the flat Earth.
So if you ignore all the evidence, there's so much evidence.
Yeah. I can conclude that germs don't exist because I can't see them with my eyes. So, if you just stopped using these things like microscopes and telescopes and, multimeters and voltmeters, because I can't see electricity either, so it doesn't exist. Like, can we see how bafflingly stupid this argument is? If you can't, if it looks like something to your eyes, that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm sure even if they did go up to, they did a Red Bull jump from the edge of space 63 miles up or whatever, they would see the curvature of the Earth and they'd come up with something. Oh, it's an atmospheric distortion effect because I'm at the edge of space. It's clearly flat. It's just an optical illusion that it looks like it's a globe from up here.
Yeah, and Probin's got a good point. Like a lot of the flat earthers are trying to make up reasons why they can't go for the final experiment, which is the trip to Antarctica to see the 24-hour sun next summer. And a lot of them are turning it down. Some of them are accepting it, but a lot of them are just making up excuses. I think Whitsett is already coming up with excuses as to why he can't go. He's probably the biggest flat earther at the moment. And he is just running through a cycle of excuses of why he can't go. I think he's a liar. I think he knows full well.
I almost switched to being a flat earther so I could get a free trip to Antarctica.
Right, yeah.
Because none of them are taking it.
Yeah, and I think every single flat Earth debate, that should be brought up. Are you going to the Antarctica in the final experiment? And how does the 24-hour sun work? Because if they're not going, they're full of crap. They're not prepared to stand by what they say. They will not actually go and find out the truth for themselves. They're full of crap.
I think that's the real experiment. It's not observing the sun. It's seeing the flat earthers run from the experiment. The experiment is, will they demonstrate they know they're full of shit by refusing to go to the experiment?
Maybe that is the experiment.
Yeah, I think it is. And the hypothesis is being borne out thus far.
Nice. Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of them are. Just one sec, I'll just find this for you, I see. Thank you for your links and your suggestions here, mate. Really appreciate it. It's really good. So I've got it here. There we go. Beautiful. Thank you very much.
So I think I'm a little bit disappointed that your presentation wasn't much longer. I didn't really know what else to say.
I don't think so, Unicorn. I don't think so. Whitsett has been such a long time advocate of flat Earth. He's got no way out. He can't pivot to just spheroid Earth geocentrism. He just can't. There's no possible way. There's no possible way he would get away with that. It would never happen. He has worked his fans up into such a rabid state of flat Earth or die. He would not get away with that. There's no way.
He did do that one debate. I think it was against Leo over geocentrism. And, at some point it came up, well, that you only say that because you think the Earth is flat and stationary. And Witsit replied something to the effect of, the shape of the Earth doesn't matter for the purposes of this debate. And
Right.
it comes off as like he's trying to distance himself from flat Earth, even though it's part of the same belief system.
Well, I think he knows that geocentrism is a lot easier to argue than flat Earth. Like, flat Earth is incredibly difficult to argue. I mean, I had a guy come into a chat or something and challenge me to a debate on evolution and said, like, why are you dodging debates on evolution? Why are you dodging these evolution debates? You won't debate me on evolution. So I get him on email and he says, I say, okay, you want to debate evolution? Here's all the details. I've got a moderator. We can come on my channel. And he says, well, actually, we should debate abiogenesis. And it's like, are you serious? You hassle me for not debating evolution, and then you want to go to abiogenesis after we've agreed to debate evolution. And I sort of said, well, and he's like, oh, you're putting the cart before the horse. You have to do the abiogenesis one first. And I'm like, no, you can argue for the existence of the cart, even use the cart without knowing where the horse was born. You don't need to do that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's kind of this accusing me of not wanting to debate evolution, then not wanting to debate evolution when it actually
all
comes
projection.
Up. Well, I said, as long as you concede evolution, we can debate abiogenesis all you want. I have not heard back from him. I probably got to send him another email and see if he's actually, yeah, it's strange. But apparently I'm the one that doesn't want to debate evolution, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, one of my favorite subjects to debate. Now, abiogenesis, as I said to him, abiogenesis is a lot harder to defend because that isn't a theory. It isn't like we don't know exactly how it happened. There's a lot of models for it, and we have some of the steps pinned down, but it's a lot weaker position. But I think that's what the guy was counting on, So, yeah.
Talk about point 6, where you mentioned a hump of water. That was your exact phrase. Now, I tried to look up on Google.
Oh, really, Cuddly? Really? Priming is really? Wow. Okay, I would be incredibly surprised. No lie, I would be incredibly surprised.
We need to hire more Big Bad Mamas. You know how Big Bad Mama keeps an eye on Hovind? We need another to keep an eye on the Witsits and such.
Oh, yeah. I wish. Live streams and stuff, eh? Election watch party, yeah. Schooling globe, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. It's just I would be very surprised because of the fervor he's been defending flat Earth with over the years. I mean, he would be more of a joke than he already is if he switched to geocentrism instead of flat Earth. I mean, that would be the nail in his coffin as far as I'm concerned.
Earth, the tidal bulge. I don't know if that's similar. Tidal bulge, hump of water, they kind of sound similar. The point is,
2 minutes.
I've never seen an actual real picture of the tidal bulge. So if you could maybe show me an actual picture of the tidal bulge that doesn't involve a cartoon or CGI, that would be very welcoming. And also, if you could redefine what hump of water means, and again, try to prove that water actually does curve. Thank you. I yield back.
Boom, 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 boom. Holy, with 90 seconds to spare. Okay, Ben, I can see why Elon tried to get you out of here, or did he let you back? Either way, we can see where you coming from, bro. All right, Rez. Oh.
We can see why Elon kicked you out of here. Well, I presume it probably wasn't because of flat Earth. It was probably due to flat Earth adjacent misinformation, like medical misinformation, political misinformation, just all kinds of misinformation. That's flat earthers rarely go in for flat earth as their only conspiracy that they're in on. Mm-hmm. Rarely.
Conspiracy.
Yeah.
Hope you ready, my boy. Hold on, let me.
Oh, MC Toon has covered it? Okay. Well, I love MC Toon. He is an amazing dude.
Yeah, he's tons of fun. I wish I had more time in a day to watch all the creators that I like and respect, but sadly, fighting flat Earth isn't my main wheelhouse, so I don't get to see MC as often as I'd like. But
yeah, same
know.
here. Oh, he did it. Oh, I got to see that video. Antarctica excuses. Oh, I love it. 24-hour Antarctic claims you wish you'd never made. Okay, beautiful. Nice.
Go ahead and slide to this reset here. Give me 1 second.
Thanks, Cuddly.
1 second.
There you go. Have a Bigfoot Jesus, Cuddly.
All right, we know how Rhetoric is coming. He coming with the signs. He coming with the calculations. Let's see what rebuttals he got to say. Red, you are up. The timer starts when you start speaking.
Thank you. Not only do I bring the science, but I also bring the apparent contradictions that were made by my opponent, because he said that we don't want computer models. The flat earther won in court because the opponent brought computer models, and computer models prove nothing. Sir, the NASA document that you brought up as evidence for a flat Earth is about a computer model. It's a computer model of a flat, non-rotating Earth.
Yep, it's a mathematical model. Correct. Correct.
Whoopsie.
Whoops.
So if we are in agreement that that doesn't prove jack shit, then I guess we can go ahead and agree that we're going to put that off to the side. And I'm sorry you wasted your time going over that. Since we both agree now, it's irrelevant because it was a computer model. Imagine that. Next, I did not have to bring up the origin of the Earth. The Earth could be created by God and it would still be round. The Earth could be created by Zeus and it would still be round. The Earth could have been queefed into existence by the flying spaghetti monster and it would still be round. Creation has nothing to do with geometry. Now, gravity may explain why the Earth is round, but we're not talking about why the Earth is round. We're talking about a question of, is the Earth round? Why something is, or is it that in the first place, is two separate questions. My job here was to demonstrate the geometric consequences of living on a globe. And I'm sorry, either you weren't paying attention or you didn't just understand what I was going at, but everything I stated points that fact. A geometric consequence for living on a globe would be that ships disappear bottom up and eventually out of sight. A geometric consequence is that.
Yeah, he didn't actually explain in the rebuttal, the band notes didn't actually explain why that happens at all. Like, he didn't explain that. And he just said, hey, it works on a flat Earth. Why does it work on a flat Earth? What actually makes it work on a flat Earth? Because we sort of say, hey, we can explain why it happens on a globe Earth. The further you go away, the more it dips below the horizon, because that is the curvature, like it 100%. Why does it work on a flat Earth? I have no idea still.
As you are looking down the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway, it will curve. Now, you managed to completely miss one part that I said, which is, what do I mean by level in this context? It just means perpendicular to the pole of gravity. I stated that explicitly, yes, but you didn't catch it. Gee, I wonder why. So going on to the stuff that you brought up, you said an F.
Yeah, and I had that criticism as well. He absolutely defined what he meant by level. Now, you may disagree with the definition of level in that case. That's okay, but you can't just say he said level, he means what I mean. That's just, that is a straw man of his position.
16 pilots supposedly said that the Earth is flat. So what? So I'm supposed to take this guy's word for it? If I can't go to NASA and just take their word for it, you can't go to someone else and just take their word for it. Everything that I presented was my own observations or the observations of people I know personally.
Yeah, so if we're going to what pilots say, why don't we go with the vast majority of them who say that the Earth is a globe? Why is it that we should go to the ones that agree with the flat earthers?
Cherry picking.
Cherry picking.
You've never spoken to this pilot. Hell, I bet you never even spoke to any member of Globebusters. But we'll go ahead and accept them as face value because they already agree with what you're biased towards. Next, sea level. You guys keep saying that level means flat or whatever. Again, you cannot define the flat Earth into existence, sir. That is not positive evidence for the flat Earth. You can try and make words mean a certain thing and then trip up people when they use those words in different contexts, but that's a dishonest tactic. That is not evidence for a flat Earth. Next, you said that, well, I can't really judge the MC1 video about ships over the horizon. Well, The one thing I will say is that a lot of people saw the footage that I was seeing, and they saw that it was a crystal clear day. You compare my crystal clear observations with your hazy observations. You said that, not me, your hazy observations. Which one are they going to go through as, or go to as the more premium observation? Clearly mine. So let's go over this. You also said, hey, I'm going to talk about...
Yeah, and Red's moving really fast here. And the reason why is because Ban Notice did like a scatter shot opening. He did so many different points in a very, very short amount of time. So many claims. So I really appreciate he is moving through these, like really moving through these. And you cannot do this in a debate without making very detailed and copious notes that are also very efficient. So I know from being in debates, doing debates myself, encountering this scattershot approach to debates, that Reds has done really good notes here, and salute, sir, very, very well done, because I can tell that you had an efficient answer to everything, and that is awesome to see. And this is what I talk about when people, like I'm saying, people should take notes in debate. Absolutely. If you're going to do it, learn how to take notes. Absolutely.
The motion of the planet. Let me go ahead and demonstrate this right here. I have a cylinder. It's actually a can of Coke. I put it on my table. Is it moving? No. Has it stopped being a cylinder? No. Then why is motion relevant? Why is motion relevant to the shape of the object? Oh, it isn't? Imagine that. So it looks like in a debate about geometry, I was sticking with geometry. So let's go over what you didn't address. You didn't address the SpaceX landing. You said, well, you didn't say that they're landing on the moon. That wasn't my point, dude. They landed on a drone ship so far out into the water that when they were landing, the flame of the rocket was obscured by the curvature of the Earth. You did not address that. You brought up the moon landings for some reason, which was not what I brought up. So what you said was irrelevant. Next, you didn't bring up the EQ telescope mount or the fact that it is a geometric impossibility. Let me repeat that one more time because I really want this to be addressed in your next rebuttal. It is a geometric impossibility.
What's the chances of being addressed in his next rebuttal? Do we have an over and under probability on that? What's the chances there? I don't know. I don't know.
Ability for that mount to work as it does in reality without
5 minutes.
Without it being placed on a sphere. Next, you didn't actually address the observation about the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway. You just said, well, it's a computer rendering and whatever, so we're not going to agree with that. But here's the thing. I showed more than just a computer rendering. I showed an actual bridge curving. Now you said, well, that could be atmospheric effects, that could be atmospheric distortions, that could be, all sorts of things. An atmospheric effect or an atmospheric distortion that matches perfectly with the glow position, which is the thing that was modeled. Quite a coincidence, don't you think? Next, you didn't bring up my Tampa Bay blink test observation and the fact that you will never, ever, from that vantage point, see the bottom of those towers. And if parallel lines do not intersect by definition, and if the Earth is flat, there is no reason why we shouldn't see the bottom of those towers. None whatsoever. None. And as for my last my last rebuttal, the rockets being illuminated by the sun that is beyond the curve of the Earth. You did not bring up any explanation on how that would work. You just said, well, they just go higher and that somehow solves the issue. It doesn't. How does it solve the issue? The law of perspective? Well,
yeah, and that's what I was sort of saying. He just says, well, it would work on a flat Earth. And it's like, but how does it work? We can tell you how it works with the curvature of the Earth and the sun being below the horizon, but the light still hitting the rocket that is sort of gaining altitude because it's still in the direct line of sight to the sun. That's all very explainable, but they don't explain how it works on a flat Earth. And that's the problem.
The law of perspective is alpha equals 2 times the arctan of g over 2r. Alpha is the angular size, g is the actual size, and r is the distance. How, via the law of perspective, does that help you? Was it the inverse square law? Well, it definitely isn't the inverse square law because I can see the rays of sunlight before it actually rises, and I see the rocket being illuminated by those rays that are streaming overhead. As you said, it would have to on a round Earth model, and I got news for you, it does. So the inverse square law doesn't help you there. So what reason do we have to believe that you have a valid explanation for why those rockets were illuminated in the way that they were? Again, you don't have to agree where those rockets are going. You can believe that they're going to crash into the Bermuda Triangle. You can believe that they're just really expensive fireworks displays. But the simple fact is this: those rockets were illuminated while it was still dark outside.
Right.
That is something that is predicted on the round Earth model. So let's go through it one more time. 1, the round Earth model explains why that booster flame was obscured by the horizon. 2, the round Earth model explains why we have luminous launches. 3, the round Earth model explains why ships disappear bottom up and eventually outside, as seen by the MC1 video, and it's definitely not by the law perspective. 4, the round Earth model explains perfectly why the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway curves. 5, the round Earth model confirms why the curvature rate of the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway matches what is predicted to be the case.
2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes.
The round Earth model perfectly explains my Tampa Bay blink test observation. And finally, 7, the round Earth model perfectly explains how the EQ mount can work in reality. So I came here to present to you evidence that the round Earth model best comports with reality. 7 links that show that the round Earth model best comports with reality. And I'm going to assert as a fact that the flat Earth model is going to fail when trying to come up with an equally valid explanation for every single one of those. Finally, I'm going to finish off here with 60 seconds left with some advice. Stick to the topic, sir. Motion, origins. Who was the one to create the Earth? If there was a who in the first place, is irrelevant. Stick with geometry because that is the actual debate topic. I surrender the rest of my time to the moderator.
Woof! Woo!
That was a run.
That was a really good rebuttal. I am really impressed with Reds here. Like, wow. Yeah, he just slapped that guy hard. That was,
he's like, oh, you want to gish gallop? Let me show you.
Right. So, and this is why, you know, and Austin sort of said in the last debate against the heat problem, the creation imploded out. Yeah, no, I get that. Sometimes you don't need to because the person, you know, really has poor arguments and stuff. I get it. But really, when we're talking about gish gallop and scattershot, you know, like these tons of different topics, he just absolutely demolished his tactic because now the ball's in the other guy's court, right? And if Bad Notice isn't taking notes, he is never going to be able to follow that, right? He's never going to be able to respond to any of those points because what was the first point he made? I don't remember. I'm not even in the debate and I don't remember. Right? So this is what I'm saying. Like in when you get into these, well, there's a series of multiple topics coming out. It is the person with the note-taking abilities that will win that exchange. You know, you brought a feeble brain to a note-taking fight, you know, like it's not even close. So that's sort of what I'm saying. And I'm not saying, Austin, I'm not saying you have to take notes every time. I just think it's good practice and a good habit to get into because like cases like this, it will absolutely 100% save you. And Reds just showed every single point he made. And this whole idea, and I love where he went on the, hey, you brought up all these topics which had nothing to do with the debate. Keep on topic. I want to see more of that in debate when these flat earthers bring up, you know, different stuff. Like we're talking about the shape of the earth. That's all. So yeah, I loved that exchange. I absolutely loved it. It was a volley, an absolute volley. Yeah, awesome. I'm not sure how much longer you want to go. Are we about halfway? I don't know how much of this is questions at the end, so I really don't want to. What is it, 53:48?
So I don't really care what you believe in. I'm just saying, I see a lot.
But I hope that answers your question, Globe Turd. If you got more questions,
Who was that?
Okay, so a little bit of at the end is questions. I'm not sure how long you want to go for. 54. What did I say? 54 something?
54:38.
38.
I should have written it down. I should have been taking notes.
I read it out. I was like, yeah, no, I'll remember that. Spoiler, I did not remember that.
You mentioned the NASA document, which I am glad you brought up. Just to be clear, the NASA document is not a proof of flat Earth. It is an admission of flat Earth. And so it's interesting that you're saying, well, why do I believe NASA at this point? I could ask you the same question. Why do you guys believe NASA?
Well, that's the guy. Yeah, that's the guy's introduction. So I might hold it there so you've got enough time to do what you need to do because that is about halfway, and it's sort of going into the second rebuttal. So that seems like a good time to call it. It's a bit of a shorter one, but that's okay. That's all right. And we can continue it next week.
Sure. 56, 51. All right. I've got it written down. As long as I don't lose this paper.
No guarantees, my friend. No guarantees.
Yeah.
No guarantees. Yeah. What do you think so far?
It's been pretty fun. I mean, Reds has just been kind of merciless, and Ban has just been flip-flopping like a fat flounder.
Yeah.
It's pretty hilarious.
Well, I love the contradictions. You know, the rockets don't explode because they don't go into space, except when they do explode. It's so... Like, it really is reminding me of just somebody really throwing whatever against the wall to try and make it stick. Ban Notice is kind of, like I said, he's scattershotting. He's throwing whatever out there to try and raise doubt in this model. Reds is more absolutely focused on these evidences that he has and is not deviating from them in the slightest. Like, I love how he's not going to take the bait of, oh, well, let's talk about motion and things like that. Let's talk about how it was created. We shouldn't get drawn into those things. Like, if you want to talk about the shape of the earth, or if you want to talk about evolution, why should we get drawn into abiogenesis? Like, why is that a thing? Right? It's kind of this, oh, well, I'll shift the topic to something else because I'm getting wrecked on this argument. So I want to shift. I want to go to something that you can't prove me wrong. So, yeah. We should break down my debate against Hovind in December. Oh, you've got a debate against the Hovinidae. Hovinidae. What Austin? I didn't know. Is it already scheduled? I presume it's on Donnie's because, you know, Hovind doesn't dare to go anywhere else, quite frankly. He is eternally over at Donnie's. Is it actually scheduled, or is it sort of just in the works? I really would like to know. I mean, if we do a review, we certainly want to get you on to discuss it like we did Ian Chen. That would be great, because I love having the people that did the debate on there.
Yeah.
December, you say. December,
December 2nd, SFT.
Hovind. Yeah. Oh, no, there it is. Yeah. Is there reasonable scientific evidence versus Austin Sims? Yeah, I got it, buddy. In 15 days. Beautiful. Well, you know, I'm always up for helping people out, preparing or whatever you need. I do like it. So that's the link onto Donnie's channel. Austin, do you have your own channel where you can put it if people don't want to see it on Standing for Truth? Because, you know, Standing for Truth. Are you going to be putting it up on your own channel?
So 15 days means we'll have our next show, our part 2, and then another show, and then this debate will happen.
Right.
So we'll have to either do a single parter or offset the review another week.
I'm fine with the single parter. I will find something short and just do that kind of thing. Yep. So that is a link to Austin's channel. So if Austin, I really, you know, I can help you out if you need to download it from Donnie's or something like that. I mean, technically, she should probably give you a copy, but I can help you out with that, mate. So if you want to jump on my Discord and and hit me up if you do want to, because like I can probably help you out with it if you need to. You know, I'm not saying you need to. You're probably going to do. I mean, it's Hovind. We all know his arguments. We know them backwards, right? And you know, we can help out if you want. We can. You know, I love to see people take on Hovind and give him the big boot, the big boot. The link to Discord, sure. It should be in the description, actually. Look, people, I'm trying to get better on all of these, like, what would you call it? The meta invites, the calls to action, I think they may be called.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like asking people to like and subscribe and join the Discord and scratch your balls and whatever else I would like you to do, kind of thing. I really, you know, I really would like to do that more. I really would. You know, maybe not the last one, but you know, most of the other ones.
I mean, you can if you want to.
I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed. I really would like to get better at those calls to action. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Give Ember a like and even a love if you feel so inclined, because she is awesome. We will be back next week on Ember's channel. Do go, and I think I will subscribe. Look, you got one more. I'm there. I'm there, Austin. Subscribed. Absolutely. Give me the notifications. I want them. Give me them. Not that YouTube actually like does a lot of stuff on it, but yeah. Okay, and as I said, I do have something new coming out Tuesday. It's a pilot. It's just experimentation on doing something to lift spirits and make us all a little bit less depressed about the world around us at the moment. So I hope you enjoy that. Members have access already. So if you haven't seen it and you're a member, go and check it out. It is Project Gua. It's Project Gua. Enjoy. IC Spin for $1.99. Thank you, IC Spin. I appreciate it. Mark, thanks for all you do. Keep up the good work. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate it. I've been working really hard, and it's been interesting, but it has been very hard lately. And we're all a bit shocked and bewildered over what's happened, but especially now that apparently Robert Kennedy Jr. is going to be the person in charge of healthcare.
The FDA and the CDC, and his very first public statement was, "There's no such thing as a safe vaccine, so we're going to ban all of them."
Yeah.
I'm so excited for the future of my country.
Yeah, and do you know who's been made the Attorney General?
The PDF file in chief.
Yeah, Matt Gaetz, who was being investigated for inappropriate actions with a 17-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Trumpland, where the ride never ends.
It blows my mind. There's so many people locally. Of course, we're trying to assemble local groups so we can share resources and information and so forth. There's so many people in the group who are like, "Why are you planning to get out? You have to stay and fight." And I'm like, "I'm not going to a death camp. Thanks, though. Why aren't you planning to leave? What, you're going to stay for this? My goodness."
Well, I've sort of, somebody mentioned that on my Discord, and I sort of said, well, there is a case to be made for either side. Like, I definitely wouldn't blame anybody. The thought is that if you leave, you're really, you know, the people left behind don't have as much power, kind of thing. But I don't think that is the only thing to consider, kind of thing. Like, really, you have to look after yourself, because if the worst happens, you'll be in no position to help anybody. So I totally understand both points of view, and I think it is a very personal thing. I don't think people leaving, I don't blame them in the slightest. I really don't. I have no, I completely understand why. At the same time, it does make it slightly harder for those left behind.
Like you said, there's pluses and minuses. Continuing to have a voice, continuing to have influence is easier now than ever, thanks to remote capabilities.
Yes.
Although no promises the internet will remain viable in the United States, because they're already talking about modifications at the FCC and with telecommunications rules, and net neutrality's been gone for a while, and they're just outright discussing, we're going to throttle all these websites so that people get forced into the right-wing stuff and etc. So I don't know, but the flip side is nobody's going to help anybody from inside a death camp. You need to
Right,
be
right.
alive to do anything.
Well, the one thing I did say is if you do move away, don't renounce your citizenship, because you still have the right to vote if you're a citizen in another country. Don't
That's
forget
right.
that. So don't renounce citizenship. Just continue your citizenship from another location is probably a good idea, because then you still have the right to vote. Yeah. So I think that sort of, yeah, I think that some of the stuff that they try to get up to just won't be accepted. It just won't be thing. But as I said, it's been a rough few weeks. So I'm with all of you. My thoughts are with you. I wish I could do more. I couldn't even vote, obviously, because why would they let me vote? I'm from the wrong orientation. I am upside down, and they don't let upside down people vote. It's
Well,
rude and obnoxious. Rude and obnoxious.
I know they should do better. I mean, hell, I may end up visiting you at some point, because Australia is one of the best places for a person with a U.S. passport to go. We get an automatic tourist visa for something. I forget if it's 3 months or 6 months, but just having a U.S. passport is like, okay, you can come in.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if Australia went the same way, I'd flee to New Zealand. New Zealand seems to know where it's at as far as sort of, liberalism and people's rights. So I think I would flee there, or maybe to Sweden. I'd say Deviant, take me to Sweden, where the only problem you have is the Danes. That's
right.
The only problem.
We're all crashing on Deviant's couch.
Right. It's weird. I watched this video recently that was like a Swedish guy, and he's like, "Oh, pros and cons of living in Scandinavia," and like his last point was like, "And then there's the Danish kind of thing." And I'm like, "What is this hatred towards the Danes? No, why? Why is Denmark getting all the hate?" Anyway, I think it's one of those things. I think they're the black sheep of Scandinavia. I think I don't know for sure. I'll be honest with you, but I think that's it. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Amber, what have you got coming up? I am really enthusiastic. What do you have for us?
Well, it's less than I'd like, less than in previous circumstances are unpleasant in my neck of the world, and not just election wise. I'm working normal jobs. I'm working 5 freaking jobs right now, 7 days a week. It's going to be a rough few months, folks. But aside from the debate review next weekend over on my channel, I've got one more transparency talk coming out. I think it's Wednesday the 27th. It's the last Wednesday in November, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Really cool author who's putting together a new book about trans people's stories. So I really wanted to make sure to get her tale in. And there's still transpositions is still happening every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm not sure how often I'll be able to make it to the broadcast going forward, but I made it last week. I may make it again. So, and it's still a worthwhile show, even when I'm not personally around. So, keep that in mind. I know there's more, but I cannot think of it. I am also using the sliver of time I have free I'm very slowly putting together a regular video, and it's going to be a nerd video. It has to do with Star Trek stuff. Little teaser on that one. I don't know how long it's going to take me to finish, but when it's finished, it's going on the main channel.
There you go. There you go. So I've just been advised or just notified there is a debate coming up on Skeptic Spin with my good friend Justin moderating between the indomitable Grayson and Octavio, who is it's not Otangelo, it's like Octavio. He was a very British guy, very, very nice guy actually, on evolution. So please do go and check out Skeptic Spin. And Grayson Hawk is debating. Octavio's he seems really nice. We had a really good debate actually. It was very good. So don't forget to check out that. Apart from that, I'll be back on Wednesday, my Wednesday, Tuesday night Eastern time for all you people who are up the right way. How dare you? How dare you be orientated northwards? It's pure bigotry, I say. It will be Tuesday night Eastern time. I have aimbot, where I look at a series of moral situations from Reddit and decide who is in the right and who is in the wrong. My wife may or may not join me depending on what she's doing that day, but no promises. And on Thursday night Eastern time, Friday Australian, we have Fundamentalist Fails, which is always a lot of fun as we check out the madness and hilarity of the fundamentalist Christians, Muslims, Scientologists. I gotta find a Scientologist stuff, and see where we can find them absolutely failing miserably. Apart from that, I have something coming out. So I put it for Tuesday morning, which is probably Monday night, I think. I've got a new pilot coming out of a show that I want to do, and I want to see how the pilot goes. I really want feedback, and I want to see how many of my friends I can rope into helping me with it. So that's really what I'm doing. So yeah, it should be good. A lot of good things coming up. So yeah, turn the notifications on, like, subscribe. Yeah. Is there anything else I've missed, Ems? Have I
Join memberships and get all these fun, cool emojis we've been using the whole show, like the banhammer and the winner and the tangents and things.
There you go. Why are you so good at this? Why?
Only on other people's channels. I suck when I try to do it myself.
Right. Oh, no, I've already given away the freebies. Okay. Well, that's okay. But if you do join readerships, you can have the often envied sus emoji, because that's where it's at. That's where it's at. But thank you so much,
proof of Bigfoot Jesus.
Oh, Bigfoot Jesus. Everyone loves Bigfoot Jesus. Come on now. The amount of hate I got for that emoji was just insane. Like, but just the whole Bigfoot Jesus thing was insane. And it wasn't even me. It was these fundamentalists that believed in a Bigfoot. Anyway, I didn't make Bigfoot Jesus up. I just stole it. What, an Australian stealing something? Oh my God.
It never happens.
Well,
it's almost like you're related to the British.
How dare you? How dare you?
Hey,
British.
I mean, we kind of are too. Although not me personally, because I'm half Irish, half Welsh, and half Scottish.
Oh, there you go. Oh, that's a lovely combination. That's
right.
Yeah, that's a lovely combination. That's everyone but the British.
Yep.
That's the entire.
We were all fighting the English and had a very festive night one day. Yes.
No wonder you don't like the British. You know, me, it's just sort of latent, sort of, cultural memory from being exiled. But you've been fighting them. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. I've had an absolute blast. I hope you've had a good time too. We give a big thanks to Ember. Amazing Ember. Don't forget to check out her stream next week while we'll be over there doing the part 2. So if you found this enjoyable, come over to Embers, because Embers is nice and fun and cuddly and very, very nice. So yeah, I absolutely love it. But don't forget to be kind to yourself, be kind to each other, and hopefully we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.